Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for one of the angriest post-match live streams you will see from me. I'm not usually the guy to get angry or to like rage and to like rant and do all of these things. I'm not usually that guy. But today I'm going to be that guy. We are joined by Harry. I will introduce him to you guys in a second. Pys will join us in a little bit as well. But first, I'm going to just need a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just need a minute because what the flipping hell was that? Like, what was that? I mean, there's many people to criticize today. And I'm not going to be sat here calling for Thomas Tuchel's head. That's stupid. If that's what you're doing, you're stupid. But after how we played against Man City, make one change, and that be the player that's a player that's unavailable in Kante is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not having it at all. You can't, like, Ziyech is going to solve our problems. Have you not seen him the last 3 games? Like, putting Ziyech, everything will be fine from City. How? Where have you come to that conclusion? I do not understand how you could have possibly come to that conclusion. And yes, people will tell me, what can you do? Mount's gone. Werner's awful. Pulisic's gone. Not gone, but injured, obviously, for Mount and Pulisic. Hudson-Odoi, well, he only uses him as a right wing back anyway. So what can he do? Well, there's many things he can do. Like, for example, and I know I sound like a hypocrite, and I sound like, oh, but only now you're coming out with this. What did I say? All May, April, March long, and even until the summer at times. We need to play a back 4 because what happens when you play a back 3 for a second season, everyone clocks it and you can't attack to save your life anymore. The only difference between now and Conte's second season is that we have Lukaku, who actually gives us a chance. I know today bottled the one chance he had, but still, back then we had Morata, so it's at least a little bit better. But essentially, it looks like the same thing. I'm not saying it's going to be the whole season. It's going to be like Conte's second season. That's not what I'm saying. But these last 2 games have seemed like Conte's second season. We just have this back 3 because apparently we have no other option. We need to have it. Whether it's a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2, doesn't matter. Essentially, we're hampering ourselves. And we just can't do anything with it. Like, Ziyech, Havertz, what are you doing? Like, Havertz got a bit better in the second half. But whether he's on the left as a 10 or on the right as a 10, like, what is the point of you people? Like, Ziyech is a technically incredibly gifted footballer, and every time he tries to control a ball, it bounces off him by like 2 yards. Like, how is that? Like, send him back to the under-12 so he can learn how to control a football. Like, what is that? And then he has like 5 fouls in a row in like the space of half an hour in the first. I'm like, what are you doing? And Havertz, every time I see him, he's just stood there waiting for a ball. I'm like, move, lad. Move. Do something. You're so good at football. Get the ball. Do something. Sure, he had a few moments where he tried, and I do believe that he was better than Ziyech. But he was still poor. And Jorginho, what is that today? I know he might have a calf problem, but that was awful. And Kovacic sorted himself out a bit in the second half. But these 2 mistakes from him, we are just lucky that you know, you were bottled it for those chances in the first half, because those were awful mistakes from Mateo Kovacic. Christensen, a right centre back, that's not the same as Aspi or Reece James. He slows down our build up so much there. And I'm not saying that Christensen's awful, but he struggled with the build up. It's just as simple as that. Aspi as wing back can be an option. Is not an option to go with all the time. Should we have signed a right wing back? Probably. Also, we bring Ross Barkley on before we ever bring Saul on. What was the point in signing Saul then? Like, what was the whole idea? But now let's get to the worst problem of the whole thing, right? Let's get to the worst problem. How on earth did Alonso start again? Like, we did this player ratings live stream after the City game. We literally gave him a 1. The lowest I think we've ever given any player ever since doing this. And he starts again? Like, excuse me. And I know Chilwell wasn't that much better in the second half. But if you're playing players on merit, what sign is that given to the rest of the team if Alonso plays again? Like, I don't know what Chilwell must have done in training if we think that this was on merit. But Chilwell must have done something real bad if this was on merit today. Like, I honestly, I cannot comprehend it. But just to clarify it, what Juve did to us today was what we tried to do to City on Saturday. Just we failed at it miserably, and Juve did brilliantly at it. But the worst thing you can do is literally go to Juventus, concede the stupidest goal you will have ever conceded. 11 seconds into the second half. 11 seconds, one long ball. Aspi, no idea where the ball is. Like, it looks like I don't know, someone just hit him on the head. He was so disorientated. And then Thiago Silva with, well, almost like he thought we were playing West Brom, apparently. And then all of a sudden, it's 1-0 after 11 seconds. Like, 11 seconds. Are you taking a piss? And then we have a referee that thinks we're playing under 12s football because he gives every contact as a foul. So, like, you could not have helped Juventus more today. You play badly. Obviously, that makes things easier for them. You give them a goal after 11 seconds in the second half. And then you also have a referee who calls every foul, which obviously helps their time wasting and, just dragging everything on and making it impossible for us to do anything. But then we actually do have a chance. And the guy that, I tweeted something and people were at my neck. But then later, Lukaku actually has a chance. And what does he do? Balls in. What I tweeted, and we will talk about it, and that's why I'll bring Harry in after I just introduce him quickly. I said during the second half, at this point, I'm thinking about taking Lukaku off. And not because Lukaku was so bad. And yes, I know I didn't explain that in my tweet. But not because Lukaku was so bad. But because no one around him seems to understand how to play with him right now. No one around him seems to understand. So my logic was, okay, do what we had last season. And just maybe that will get some almost muscle memory and a bit of like hidden confidence into the players. If you're like, okay, we know what to do in this situation now. Maybe that was the reason why I said maybe take Lukaku off. And we were discussing it on the stream yesterday. We were discussing it a few streams before that. Why are we not creating anything for/with Lukaku? And the guy said, yeah, just let them play together. I mean, that's well and good. But we can't just let them play together if it takes them God knows how long. And then by that point, we will have lost God knows how many games, right? Because that's not going to be forever the solution. So we need to find some sort of solution. And please, God, don't tell me that Ross Barkley is the solution. Because not only were we all bad, but Ross Barkley was the only player in our entire team that created a good goal-scoring opportunity today. The only player that created an actual goal-scoring opportunity was Ross Barkley. Okay, call Alonso's low corner in the first half that Lukaku, again, that was poor, that shot. Like, it looked like it wasn't much to it, but that's a big chance for Lukaku. He just rolled it straight at Szczesny. Right, so two players, but one was from open play, one was from a set piece. Ross Barkley was the only player that created something. Doesn't that tell us enough about the problem today? But Harry, first of all, thank you for joining us. You guys might know him as Chelsea fans, XI of Twitch, of Twitter, wherever else. Of course, you might have seen him on Chelsea Fan TV during the watch-alongs or joining me on the phone in the other day. But Harry, first of all, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure as always.
I suppose what
did you make on your chest, mate?
Make of my rant, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say you had a lot on your chest, and I'm sure I'm literally looking at the Chiesa goal right now as it goes in. I was lucky enough for my my skybox wasn't working during the beginning of the second half, so I didn't actually have that heartbreak of seeing the goal go in. But I saw enough of the replay to see. From what I heard, it was just like really, really poor start, really poor defense. Obviously, it had to have been for 11 seconds into the game, but as you said, Azpilicueta probably to blame. Would you say?
Yeah, Aspi. I need to see it back. Even though I watched it back,
I hate to say it as well because we all love Azpilicueta so much, but it's so rare for him to make a mistake. I feel.
Like, so definitely, he misjudged the long ball. I just don't know if we can have a go at Thiago for not getting on Bernardeschi. That's one I don't really know. I would need to see it again. But Aspi definitely badly misjudged that long ball. Like, who are we? We're getting beaten by one long ball. Like, from the half. It was their kickoff.
With regards to what you were saying about, I think Lukaku was the main point that you were covering in terms of we brought him in to do a job and he can't do the job. And I think he can't do it when I was saying it the entire stream. The balls that he was receiving were never to the feet. They were never to the feet. Everyone knows he's a baller when it comes. He's got the strength. He's got the ability to turn. Someone could be hanging on his back and he has the power to turn around and shrug them off and still get the shot off. I think I could count maybe 1 or 2 times that he had the ball played to his feet. Jorginho, Kovacic, Alonso, everyone else. That it was like such poor passing, and it carried on from the last game against Manchester City that it is just so bizarre to see that we've gone from a team that is so clinical in terms of even just passing or playing it forward. I think so. I saw someone say on your pre-match show for this game that counter-attacking football isn't necessarily our thing. We're working on it, but you know, I don't think under Tuchel at all I've ever seen Chelsea pass so badly as they have done in the last 2 games. And I was saying in the last time that we did the post show for Chelsea Fan TV that don't worry, it's all going to work itself out. But today is a little bit worrying, I must say. I'm still completely pro Tuchel. It's literally, again, don't worry at all. This will, hopefully it will turn around. I believe it will turn around, but the fact that this has happened, 2 games, pretty much identical performances from Chelsea against both sides, it is a little bit worrying. None of the players look like they have any sort of heart, and the fact that we are the defending champions of this prestigious title is again very worrying, that we aren't playing like a team that wants to defend it. It's bizarre.
When last time we were reigning champions and were knocked out in the group stages, what was our result in Turin? Do you remember what the result in Turin was?
We lost 3-0 on the last the return fixture, I think.
At home it was 2-2, wasn't it? I just can't remember the away game, what the result was. You get that up. I'll introduce Pys and then we'll run it back in circles. Pys, thank you for joining us. I hope you found something interesting in the post-match stuff, which you obviously just listened to. Wow. I mean, I had 2 minutes where I just ranted at things just by myself because I'm just fuming. And you know me by now, Pys. I'm not usually the guy to sit here and rants and rages. And I'm not usually that guy. I'm usually quite calm, quite collected. But today I kind of lost it. I was fuming. And I'm fuming at most players, and I'm also fuming at Tuchel, and it kind of annoys me and you can be annoyed at a manager without wanting him gone. That exists, and I think people don't understand that possibility. But I find it strange almost the people that say that want to excuse Tuchel of any sort of responsibility for this. I'm like, no. We basically did the same thing as we did against City, and we were awful. And I tweeted, I'm excited for what Tuchel will do in terms of changing things up. And then what does he do? The identical team, except leaving Kante out, who was unavailable. He basically didn't make a single change, which he wasn't forced to make. And then he brings Ziyech on, who was dreadful for the last 3 games. I just don't get it. But Pys, first of all, thank you for joining us, obviously. But please tell me something. Please tell me what you thought of that, because it was. I don't even know, honestly.
Yeah, just a very frustrating game. Obviously, very hard to break down the deep block of Juventus. But I think the main thing for me was we just didn't move the ball quick enough. Like you said, there was just no urgency. There was no reaction. There was no fight. It was just so annoying, especially in the first half. Every time Lukaku wanted the ball, Alonso would pass it back, or Zick would pass it back. We just had no plan to involve our main striker. And obviously had the one chance which he missed, but would be nice to actually create some more chances in 90 minutes so we don't have to scrape on one chance and hope it goes in. I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But
I mean, you say that. That's literally what we did against Zenit. But because Lukaku did score at that time, kind of everyone ignored the problems.
Yeah, no, Zenit was a poor game as well, bro. Really.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But Lukaku that one day did take his one chance.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me today, I was absolutely fuming. Tuchel changed it to a 3-5-2 and brought Hudson-Odoi at right wing back. Oh my god, bro! I just want to slap myself in the face 1,000 times. Why? What are you doing? We're trying to get a goal and he's gone more. It literally made us more defensive, for God's sake. I don't know what Hudson-Odoi is playing right wing back for, and the more it happens, the more I'm getting annoyed. Yes, he's more of an outlet than an Aspi or even a Reece James, because Reece James doesn't really take people on either. That's the problem. Reece James is more of just to get the ball on the byline sort of thing and cross. Yes, Hudson-Odoi can take people on. He's got more pace, he's more direct, but he's on the wrong side for starters. He can't cut in and shoot or pass because he's not left-footed. And he literally has one option: is you go at the defender. I've said this 1,000 times. You go at the defender and then he runs out of space. He either has to cross it, or he just has to turn back and then pass it, almost like Moses.
But you know why that is, though?
It's because it's no space on the side. Often the times he gets...
No, it's because he doesn't have a left foot. So he does the same thing every time, which means that it's so easy for every defender to know what he does.
So that's why I say, why is he playing there, though? Because on the left-hand side, what he does is he's as direct as he's on the right, if not even more. But then he can cut in and have an actual angle to shoot out of his right foot. Or he just seems so much more comfortable and direct. Like he said it himself. People need to get out of this like thing of, oh, you know, players can say they want to play here, blah, 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 but you get played where you played. Like, we're struggling at the moment, so try something different. Like, I didn't get the lineup tonight. Honestly, Ziyech, like, yeah, you can always put something in the back of your mind. Will he have a big performance because it's Champions League? He was absolutely abysmal. Granted, he started off the game pretty intense. I thought his pressing was good, but he was giving away cheap fouls. As I said to you,
4 in the space of like 10 minutes.
As I said to you at the start, the thing that annoyed me the most, Lukaku's screaming at him, look, he's pinning the defenders, play the ball into my feet. Ziyech, what do? I'll look around, I'll stop. You know what? Actually, I'll turn back and pass. Like,
he gave away about 7 fouls in the first 10 minutes as well.
But we're not.
It pissed me off so much.
These guys, these guys are just not linking with Lukaku well enough, and that's why I want Pulisic back, because I want to see something different. Mount as well. I want to see something different. But yeah, it's really worrying. The front guys especially, like it's really, really worrying. And the tactics today, as I said, 3-5-2 second half. Just I didn't get it. I didn't get it, bro.
Did you see at times, by the way, in the second half, Ruben was all of a sudden the right wing back, and Callum was in the middle for no apparent reason.
Like Barkley coming on as well just summed it up. Like we're throwing
and
everything.
Still, Barkley
at them.
was the best player in the second half.
Yeah, like we're throwing everything at them without actually throwing everything at them because we didn't attack. Like it was just.
How badly do you think we missed Mount, by the way? Because I didn't think we would miss him as much as we have done. City game, it was quite apparent, but this game, it's so like I feel like it's so apparent.
The thing is with me is I've seen so many tweets saying, "Oh, Mason Mount's so vital." Yes, in some ways, but again, I would argue today, especially, like what would he have done different? He's not a dribbler and he's not a creator. He's more.
He's just the only one that actually understands Lukaku, I think. A little bit.
I said at the beginning of the stream that Mount arguably is probably having, I think, for Chelsea at least, probably the worst start to his to a season for Chelsea.
Yeah, I really like Mount.
Statistically, more so than performances. Like he's still very like he makes the appearances, he makes himself known, but he's not getting the assists or the goals that he was in the last couple of seasons. I still think that we are missing him, and I wasn't really one going into like the last game that I didn't think we were going to miss him as much as we have, but I do think with him being gone for the last 2 games, and we've played as badly as we have done in the last 2 games. Is it because he's missing, or what we're missing? Because a lot of people in the chat on the Today stream were saying that we were missing Kante. He didn't do anything in the Man City game, and you could argue he might have had.
I will say that about. Sorry to interrupt you, but Mount didn't do anything last time he played against Spurs.
No,
I know he came on against Villa, but that was a different position.
I think a lot of people wanted Kante and Mount. They say we're missing them is because of the lack of energy we had today. Like there was no real, like I thought, and you know I'm a big fan of him, Laurenz. I didn't think Kovacic played that well, right? I thought he'd give the ball away quite a lot. Oh. But did you see the from the corner, right? I know, like he did the counter attack, but then Lukaku played that terrible ball, and he somehow made it. Like, why wasn't that a recurring theme from all our players? Like he was busting a gut to try and get out of.
Exactly, I was like, so all of this energy you've clearly preserved for the last 80 minutes. Don't use it up all now. Why? Where was it last? Because I
just don't understand it. Like
that was brilliant from him. Really brilliant. Obviously, you can't do that 10 times a game, you'll be dead. But that was amazing from him. But then obviously the way he gave the ball away a few times a second in the first half, we were just lucky Juve didn't score from it.
It's like where was that desire from every player? Like one of you said, like we didn't play like we're defending the Champions League crown. Like I don't get it. Like I just the last 2 games have really made no sense to me. Like City a bit more because I feel like City were way better than Juventus, by the way. Juventus were not
they weren't even good. They weren't even good. They just. I said at the end of the stream that they gave us a taste of our own medicine from like years gone by in terms of like parking the bus. They parked the bus better than I think I've ever seen anyone park the bus in their life. Yeah, like they were so
City
good.
Made it really difficult.
And fair play to them. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, whereas City made it really difficult for us. They employed the high press. We couldn't get out, and we was just sloppy on the ball that day. Until Ruben came on against City, we were dreadful. It was just more the same thing. Just I just feel like there's a lack of belief. Like, as I said to you, like, where is the forward options? Like, I just don't get it. We're playing backwards.
I said it before you joined, Pies. I said it because I was discussing this with my girlfriend as well. I do want to get to that comment here because I do think it's an interesting question or an interesting way to put it. I said how you remember it, Pies. All of this time under Tuchel, even before we won the Champions League, I was like, 3-4-3 is all well and good now. We need a back four next season. This will not work forever. And I will fully admit, winning the Champions League, signing Lukaku, the players we signed, I kind of, was defeated and accepted, okay, we're going to play three at the back because we didn't sign the players to play four at the back. And I said this earlier to Harry already, the last two games, like if they don't scream Kante second season, I don't know what does. Like we literally played identical. Like literally, no attacking. The only difference is now we have Lukaku, so there's a bit of a chance. At the time we had Morata. But everything else is just the same problem.
Laurenz,
we even brought Barkley on. Like it's literally the same
thing. The last two games screamed end of Lampard era. That's what it screamed like. There was no
No
tactics, no nothing.
It's not that deep. It's not
It
that.
was. There was no
play. Why I say like Conte?
There was no
three at the
plan
back for nothing but just to have three at the back. That's what seems like. That's why we're playing three at the back right now. Just because we don't know what else to play. Because there's no logical explanation to playing three at the back when we have the attacking problems we have. Well, the logical explanation is we don't have the players for a midfield three, a back four. I get that part. But it's just, why weren't we more intent on that in the summer? Con, thank you for joining us. I wasn't sure whether you were going to join because I texted you earlier and you were like, you're not home. I'm like, I'm confused. Are you not going to be home later? But here you are. So I appreciate you for joining. On this note, and I will put the question to Pies and Harry as well. I will just start this off. And obviously you can have your say on the game as a whole as well. I want to get to this question by Melly here because I see what she's saying. And that's why I tweeted in the first half, and I'm not sure if you saw it in the second half, sorry. I'm not sure if you saw it, Pies, but I mentioned it with Harry earlier. I said, maybe we should take Lukaku off. Not because Lukaku was like the worst of them all. That's not what I was trying to get at. But because the other players don't know what to do with him. And yes, it's the other player's fault, but it's easier to take one player out than it is to take four players out, especially when the subs also don't know what to do with Lukaku. So my thinking was just put Kai up top again, like we did last season, and maybe that will create some sort of muscle memories and like, I don't know, positive memories or whatever to like make something happen. That's why I said it, not because Lukaku was bad. But the question, I do not understand why our players have to get used to Lukaku and not the other way around. I can't lie. There's a point. But what do you make of that question, Con, and also what did you make of the whole game?
The question, yeah, it makes total sense to me. It makes sense. The thing what I feel is killing us right now is we finally started finding something at the end of the season where Kai was playing that false nine. He was really starting to find his feet. And even for Germany, he's playing false nine for them. I know he played like one game on the right for Germany, but he then started playing false nine and looked really good. And now he's back on the right and looking crap again. It's like we've just put Lukaku in and he's there. You know, we paid a lot of money for him and he's just there. And we're still trying to figure out, like, even Conte come out and said Chelsea could use him better. And if they find a better way to use Lukaku, they could win the Champions League this season. So even Conte feels that we're not using Lukaku correctly. And yeah, they just don't look connected, you know. It's always the same thing. You just know Kovacic is going to try to find to Lukaku. Lukaku's going to try to pass it back to Kai. It's so boring. Lukaku doesn't really move either. For some reason, he's just always on the centre-back. Why is he not running the channels? Why is he not doing anything else besides just sitting on the centre-back all the time? Man?
He's there as pure strength, it would seem. Like, at the moment, he's just there to provide, like, any... Like, what I was saying to you earlier is, like, if the ball gets played to feet and it's like a Lukaku versus, like, two defenders max, or, like, him versus one-on-one, and he does the swivel and all that sort of stuff, chances are he's going to score or at least get a shot on target. Today didn't really work out. He definitely had that, obviously, that late chance where he should have scored for sure. But
I still think he should have scored the first half chance from the Alonso corner as well.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of, like you say, with like opportunities coming towards him and stuff, he needs to make himself more available. He does definitely, like I say, he seems like a bit of a lump at the moment. He's just sort of like there. And I know he's big and he's got a lot of, he's a bit of like like I said, like I keep describing him more of a lump than anything. Like he hasn't got that sort of finesse about him. He has got just since he's joined Chelsea, it is just strength that he provides at the moment with that opportunity to swivel, shrug them off, and score. And I don't know, with the likes of like Abraham, I was always gutted that Abraham had been never given the chance under Tuchel necessarily to really prove what he can do. I think he's got the strength that Lukaku, obviously not the same as Lukaku, but he's definitely got the strength and he's got the finesse to match at the same time. So I think give Lukaku time. I think finding the perfect match in terms of like supporting roles for players, whether that be Werner or Havertz or Werner and Ziyech or like, you know, any of those players. Ziyech, I thought had an absolute shocker today. He gave away like 6 or 7 fouls in the first like 30 minutes of the game. How he didn't get sent off, I don't understand really. Because
let me hold you there because we will get to the player ratings and then we can talk about them more individually. I just want to, because we're just talking about the striker thing, I do want to read out one thing that I saw on Twitter during the game because I thought, and it kind of suits in with that question. I put it to Pyce and then we'll get to the player ratings. What that guy tweeted called Grand de Smith. Don't know who he is, but I saw it and it made sense. One thing about Tuchel is that he hasn't yet learned his lesson about the frontline composition. 2 or 3 of the trio being slow, non-vertical players doesn't work. Against Wolves last season, Havertz, Ziyech, Giroud, no goals. Against United, Mount, Ziyech, Giroud, no goals. Against Leeds, Havertz, Ziyech, Mount, no goals. I'm not sure about the last one if that's the same, but anyway. He then says, Werner at least stretches teams, Hudson-Odoi does too, Pulisic and Abraham would too. At best, you see one of those 4 compromise the front line and often 0. He tweeted this in March, by the way. March of this year. He didn't tweet this today. He tweeted this in March. And then the thing that I want to add to that, it applies because we use Lukaku as if he's Giroud. Lukaku is so much more than Giroud, but we basically use him like he is Giroud. Part of that may be down to Lukaku as well. And I do agree he should move around more. And he shouldn't just sit there and shout for a ball. Do a bit more than that. I'm not saying he's the problem by any means. But I'm saying he also needs to do more. Can we please not use Lukaku like Giroud? Like, I know a lot of people are always big fans of Giroud, and I never was. But the problems right now are why I wasn't a fan of Giroud, because we just punt it and then we don't know what to do. Yeah. And that's literally what we did today. Like, it just keeps happening, and it's really, really triggering me. Pyce, before I put this to you, ladies and gentlemen, we have 300 people watching, more than 300 people watching, so big ups yourself for that. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. You guys can comfortably get us to 12k subs right now, so all of you get down, subscribe, turn that, subscribe button. If it's red right now, you're doing it wrong because, just wrong. Click it. It turns grey. Not that grey is great, but still better than red, is it? So smash the like button as well. If you want to, support the channel or, get your questions or your topics or whatever involved, use the super chat function. It's always massively appreciated. But Pyce, on the thing I just read out, do you agree that we kind of use Lukaku too much like Giroud? Maybe you disagree completely. But and then also, do you see what Melly means there by saying, why are we all talking like our players need to get used to Lukaku rather than him getting used to them and the system?
Well, they do, because he's our new striker and he's not going anywhere. And he's a world-class striker at that. And Lukaku's not going to be the one that makes way for a different front three. Like, it's not happening. It's just not happening.
But getting used to something isn't making way.
Well, but that comment is kind of, I do not understand why players have to get used to Lukaku and not the other way around. I don't really understand what Melinda means.
But you know what you said earlier? Lukaku is shouting and the pass is not coming.
Yeah.
You could make the same argument. Why is he not making the runs to the players that are players past last season?
She's saying why is he not getting used to that?
There was no space to run in behind tonight, so I don't get that. Like, it was literally a deep block.
That might be true, but you can still apply the same question for the City game.
City, I don't know though. City more so, I think. But then City, we was playing 3-5-2 from the start, and no one was even like getting the ball forward. It was always out wide. It was kind of similar to tonight. That's like, I don't understand. Like, Lukaku developed such an amazing hold-up play during his time in Italy. That's why he's always pinning defenders now. He never used to do that. He used to just be running behind. That's all he was. He couldn't hold the ball up. He had a bad first touch. It's different now, and we have different ways of playing. Like, you saw against Arsenal, how much he dominated them. One, there was more.
But that was Arsenal.
No, but two, because we
not
put
Bonucci,
the ball into him every time.
That's what I mean.
No, but it doesn't matter, bro. Like, Lukaku.
Of course it does. Did you not see what he's done the last 2 games? Nothing.
No. Lukaku will bully pretty much every centre-back in the world, bar probably Van Dijk, if you utilise him properly. 100% guaranteed, not back away from that.
No, you're right. But you also need to accept that defenders also are intelligent. There's a reason why Bonucci was always a yard off Lukaku. Because Lukaku wants the defender to be on him. You know, every one of us has seen that clip with him and Jamie Carragher when Lukaku was at Everton. This is how I turn everyone. And that's why defenders that are good defenders, that's why Diaz did it, and that's why Bonucci did it tonight. They stay off him because then he can't roll them. And you need to find a solution for if they give him that yard, because then he can't pin them. That's the problem. He didn't pin anyone. Or not often anyway.
Lukaku didn't pin anyone today. The whole of the first half he was backing into centre-backs. And Ziyech kept
but not in useful positions.
Like
not in useful situations.
They could have been if you passed it forward and through the lines, but we didn't. We played it out wide. And he was shouting at Alonso. Time and time again. He was shouting. Like, you can just search up, I don't know, anything on Twitter like Lukaku. I'm sure you'll find tweets about it. Like, he was being available the whole time. I was focusing on him. He was available, but we kept playing it out wide or playing it backwards. It was so slow in the first half. Simmer in the second half. I think we actually had one in the first half where Kai played the ball into him. Lukaku then like flicked it on, and then I think Kai like got fouled or fell over or something. Like, it didn't come to much, but I thought we was going to score because it was literally ball into Lukaku, bang, he held him, and then we was like nearly in, but it kind of like fizzled out. If we did that all game, I think we would have scored 1 or 2 tonight, but it's just, we have to base our game around Lukaku. Like, what did people expect? Did people just expect that Lukaku was going to come in and, he's going to get us goals, but yeah, our whole play doesn't have to be around him, you know? Like, of course it is. He's the big guy up front. Like, you can't he's not just another piece in the team. Like, he is the main guy. So treat him like the main guy. We wasn't treating him like the main guy. We wasn't treating him like the main guy.
Honeymoon period has run out quite quickly then in that case.
I don't understand it.
What I don't understand is why you make it so simple. If everyone in the team is doing something that doesn't work with what Lukaku is trying to do, if like he should be adapting and not keep doing it. If no one feeding him the ball, the whole pinning
that's not a Lukaku problem.
It's completely pointless. No, of course, it's about everyone. Everyone needs to adapt to the situation. You can't just say Lukaku is exempt from adapting to the situation. Every player needs to adapt to the situation. The fact that Juve took the lead made the second half obviously way more difficult because everything was so tight. They had a 3-man midfield, a 3-man defense, and their wing-back was crazy. So obviously finding Lukaku through the spaces is more difficult because there's about 15 opposition players in those gaps.
So I don't get it then. Do you want Lukaku to like drop deep like Harry Kane and pick up the ball?
No, that's not. Move around and not just push into the centre back. Not just do the same one thing.
Laurenz, can I make a point,
he was moving across the line. He was going to the right. He was going to the left. He was in the middle. But
to pin centre backs though, only when the ball moved. He didn't like make any movements that helped.
Laurenz, can I make a point, bro?
Go on.
Like today, I was watching a lot, and I was watching Lukaku as well. And as soon as that passing lane got blocked into Lukaku, he just stays there. He doesn't move. He just stays there. When the passing lane's blocked, he just stays there. And for someone of Lukaku's caliber, he should be doing more. He should be like, okay, where should I go off to next? Should I go out wide? Like, he needs to be doing more plays. I get what you're saying, and to an extent, you're right.
We're just talking about Lukaku, all this shit before.
Bro, this isn't FIFA. We can't just double A and the ball just loops over into his feet. You just can't happen like that. Like, he needs to, when he sees the passing lanes blocked, he needs to do something else. He can't just stand there because he's not giving us an option. And then when Ziyech, what's he going to do? Ziyech ain't going to run in behind or make it space, is he? No. He's the guy who wants the ball to feet. So there's another, like, that's why we're always playing it safe because there's nobody really giving us any movement. And that's why Timo Werner, we always say he makes a massive difference when he plays because what does he do? When he can't do one thing, he's off doing something else. And you know what? We missed Timo tonight. I know it's a low block and people say, oh, he's not great against low blocks, but at least he makes movements. At least he gets something else a bit different.
I said this. Yeah.
I agree with you. And I didn't want this to necessarily end in a Lukaku discussion. Obviously, the question was about it, and then it made sense to at least discuss it for a while. I know I maybe sounded like it. I wasn't trying to say Lukaku was the main problem. But he was one of the problems. To say he was not at all the problem, I think that's a bit silly personally. Because I think you can't just say, oh, everyone was the problem but Lukaku. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's like what I was saying earlier with regards to him. in this game in particular, and in the games in the past since he's played for Chelsea, it only seems like he can make anything happen when it comes to his feet. You know what I mean? Like when it's played to feet, anything above the knee, he just fumbles, or it goes like that 1 yard too far in front of him, or he just fumbles it, and it's he's not the one to blame. It's the through balls and the passing, but he still has to try and make something out of those opportunities. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not the providers that are just to blame, but at the same time, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Of he needs to try and make the most of the opportunities that are given to him, but the people that are providing for him need to provide better passes, because, like I said earlier, the passing in the past, at least the last 2 games, has been shocking. Like it's been some of the worst passing I've seen in the last few years for Chelsea, if anything.
Yeah, I mean that is very true. I just tried to get the thingy up so I can get to the player ratings. Just quickly, we did have the super chat earlier from Visarud. Sorry if I butchered your name, bro. I appreciate the donation a lot, saying Chelsea lacks creative midfielders capable of making killer passes to Lukaku. He needs more feeding from players behind him, which is 100% true. That nothing about that whole comment is wrong. The problem is if we don't have it, we need to find a solution. Like, they're not just going to fall out of thin air, these creative players. So, and until we have it, whether that's someone coming back from injury, like Mount or Pulisic, while we don't have them, we can't just say, oh, well, we don't have the players, so we're just going to accept defeat now. That's not how it works. We need to find a solution to the problem. That's what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. But let me open this.
We lack them right now. We lack them right now in terms of injuries.
Yeah.
But in terms of people like Ziyech or Havertz that are available, they are. We have got players available that are capable of playing those passes, but we don't lack players overall, injuries or not, that can't provide those passes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we need to buy someone to bring them in to provide those passes to Lukaku.
I do agree. I mean that's couldn't have been made more. Made any more obvious than the last 2 games, if that makes sense. Let's get to the player ratings. I don't even know what to do with Mendy. I almost want to give him an NA because I don't remember him making a save and he can't do anything about the goal. Like, does anyone remember him doing anything particular?
No.
Nothing. Like you say, NA probably makes the most sense because only when he was needed, which was for the goal, it wasn't even his fault, and he couldn't even do anything to save it. To be honest, it's literally nothing good. It was such a good shot that he couldn't do anything.
It's tough. I mean, if we had to rate him, we'd probably, I don't know, give him a 5,
7,
6.
Maybe a 6 or a 7. 6 seems a little bit harsh, to be honest, because again, it's these types of games aren't his fault. He tries his hardest. He's probably the hardest working player in the team these past couple games, to be honest.
No, but today
if it wasn't, like you say, you made the point of like the Man City game. If it wasn't for Mendy, we would have lost like 3 or 4-0.
Yeah, no, for sure. Today, I don't know. So, what do we vote? Pys, Con, NA, or do we give him a 6 or something?
I'd give him a 5, and that's not because he was bad. It's just that he literally had nothing to do. So I think
that's the average. I didn't make a save, but that's why I said 5 or 6, because I'm like, okay, you can't really blame him for the goal, and then maybe you just start. I don't know. But Pys, what about you?
Yeah, whatever, bro. Like, he didn't really have much to do, so yeah, just go whatever.
It's just give him the 6. I don't think that's going to be the big problem by the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Just to be a little bit positive, let's start with Rudiger because he was actually half decent. One of the few players that was half decent. Not amazing, mind you, but at least half decent. Try this thing and was arguably more threatening going forward than any of our midfielders and wingbacks. So, that's something. I'll just say I'd probably give him a 7, but maybe you could push a 7.5. But even that is like, I don't know. Just with how bad the whole team was, giving anyone a 7 seems bad and seems wrong to me. But Harry, what would you give Rudiger?
Arguably, probably the better defender. I'm probably the better out of the 3, or at least equal to Christensen. I think Christensen had a very good game as well.
Did you? Okay.
Given what he had, he was always given a bad ball. We'll go on to Christensen obviously in a bit, but with regards to Rudiger, I think the only thing that I'd say the negative to him today was he had at least 2 of those like sort of Zuma type runs where he would just shoot from ridiculous angles where he could have easily played it and tried to make an opportunity for us. And I was like, don't shoot. And he would shoot at least twice today. Defensively, though, on the other hand, I would say probably, 6.57 for me. Big fan of Rudiger, but I think he's had better games, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's, to be honest, fair. Just quickly, because I realized I missed it. Sorry, Tutu. Appreciate the donation. Saying, speaking of wing backs, Chilwell did nothing in the second half. Could be the reason why Tuchel keeps starting Alonso. Just a thought. I mean, you're not wrong that he didn't really do much. I still thought he was way better than Alonso. Because with Alonso, I thought pretty much every time he ruined our attack. At least Chilwell didn't give me that. So maybe that's also a bit of a bias. I don't know. But it felt like that to me. Anyone have any reaction to that? Did you agree that Chile was as poor as Alonso? I thought he was better, while still not great.
No.
I don't think he did anything better than Alonso. Personally, I think Alonso had a shocker of a game. I think he had a shocker of a game, second game in a row. And if anyone did watch the stream, you'll know, like the past couple of games, I do back Alonso going forward. Free kicks, first touch. I think free kicks and first touch is like his go-to. Like I've always said he's like one of the best I've ever seen. With when he gets the free kick right, is unbelievable. His first touch always really, really good. But
just the problem is the second
tracking back, he's shocking. I don't know if I saw some video the other day of Alonso trying to track back. And it looked like he was in slow motion, like he was so slow. And I never realized until people pointed out how slow Alonso actually is. So defensively, like, don't get me wrong, I think Alonso is one of the worst defenders I've ever seen in my life. But free kicks, first touch, and crossing. I know Alonso's been a bit dicey crossing wise recently, but I do rate him attacking. But I just don't think he's a defender. He's not a defender at all. He is an attacking player.
I think you're stretching it to call him a footballer, to be honest. But hey, each to their own. But
I rate him, man. I rate him. I rate him in the when he does well. When he doesn't, he's a stinky player.
Yeah, that's the problem with him. He has a purple patch for about a month, and then the rest of the time is a problem. But Pies, Con, any reaction to the super
I can't keep backing him. I try my hardest to back him, but I can't. I can't keep it.
What to the comment? Do you know what? With that comment, we have no natural win backs in our team. All of them are crap at win back.
That's true. One of the reasons why I kept saying play back four.
Yeah, this is what I would have. I would gladly take Adama right now because I'm sick of these win backs. Because even Chilwell, people say he was amazing last season, but was he really? Because when he gets into attack, how often does his brother pass back? Forget the Porto game where he did some amazing wrong, but how often does Chilwell take on his man and put him across? It's very rare. We don't have a natural win back in this team, and that's what's killing us. That's one thing, because one of the main sources of creativity in a five back is your wing backs. Look at Victor Moses when he played under Kante. We don't have that profile in this team right now. That's why Hudson-Odoi plays there. That's why Tuchel's desperately trying to get him to adjust there, because that could really, really help this team. But this is why we wanted Takimi. Everybody was saying, "Oh, we don't need Takimi." Yes, we fucking do. If we had Takimi tonight, it makes a massive difference.
That's the thing. He didn't want to come to Chelsea.
No, but I'm saying, we needed a Takimi type of profile in this team. We don't have a natural win back. So it doesn't matter if Alonso plays or Chilwell plays. If anyone plays this game, it's the same result. In this type of game, the same thing happens because the win backs are basically void. Alonso's too slow. Chilwell's too dead in attack. He's too passive. Reece James isn't a win back. I love him, but he just isn't. Aspi, come on, win back Aspi. Have a laugh. Like, we just don't. So Alonso doesn't make much of a difference. He only makes much of a difference.
How do you fault? He's played in wing back for quite a long time now. I can't even fault Azpilicueta. Obviously, some games he has some bad game, but as most players have the off game. But I can't really fault Azpilicueta since he's been playing wing back. To be honest.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't know if that's like a completely outlandish
bad
point of view, but like I feel like
you can't say we were attacking
the only one that
when we
rates
played Real
him as
Madrid
wing back.
and had like 15 chances in 2 games, like sitters. Like obviously it's still kind of true, but he's not a wing back, but he's arguably done better than some of the other guys there.
I rate Dave wing back more than I do him as right back, to be honest. Personally.
Fair dues. Let's get back to the ratings. I know, obviously, Harry, you gave your rating on Rudiger, but let me go to you, Pice. What rating would you give Rudiger? And if you want to add anything to the whole Chilwell thing, please do.
People know my thoughts on the whole Alonso Chilwell thing.
True.
I don't need to go over it 1,000 times. Rudiger, yeah, was decent. I don't think. I mean, you said he was quite threatening in attack, didn't you? I didn't really see him as progressive as he usually is, but
no.
fair enough.
Yeah, you're right, but still more than our midfielders and wingbacks.
Yeah, usually Rudiger gives me like that one moment every game where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that, but it wasn't really, unless I'm missing something.
No. He had one shot that got blocked, so
yeah. He had that ball over to Lukaku as well, where it just like bounced off his head, unluckily. But yeah, that was quite funny. But yeah, that was one time, guys, that Lukaku did run the channel, so he wasn't stacked the whole time. He did run in behind when there was space. Like I was saying, it was difficult because of the deep block, but yeah, Rudiger 7 or something. Was you going to give him? I think average rating. He was solid. People were saying he was asleep for the goal, but I need to rewatch it back because, to be honest with you, I walked in the room and I just saw Chiesa shoot, and then it was like a goal. So I need to rewatch it back. A lot of people were telling me he was at fault for that.
I mean, the guy at fault for that goal is Aspi. Let's not kid yourself. Maybe Rudiger, you could argue, could track Chiesa's run a bit better, but I feel like Rudiger cannot possibly expect Aspi to not get that header. Like, that's impossible for him to expect that. And then for Thiago to kind of not get properly made, but just about squeeze the ball past him without properly tackling. I think both Thiago and Aspi are way more at fault for the goal than Rudiger. But I do see what some of the chat said. No outfield player deserves more than a 6. I do kind of agree with that. So, Con, just to put it to you lastly on Rudiger, what would you give him? Would you be okay with the 7, like I said, and like Pies kind of agreed with, and or would you go like 6 or 6.5?
I think 6 today. I think he got caught out a few times. Caught an unnecessary yellow card. He was a bit asleep for the goal. Whole defense.
Oh yeah, but that yellow card was more the ref than him, I reckon.
Yeah. I can't give anyone more than a 7 today. I agree with the chat in that sense. I can't. The performance was arse.
I see that. I mean, it was Fantasy PGA Tour saying Rudy was at fault too. Maybe then I'll also need to see it back. I didn't really see it that way, but even if he was, I still think the other two are more to blame, if that makes sense, because Chiesa is fast as hell. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think as much as Rudiger is quick, I would find it a bit harsh to say, oh, he didn't track a super fast player. Well,
can we just quickly talk about Chiesa, how good of a player he is, by the way? Like, fair play
incredible.
to defenders.
Incredible. I've also never seen a man be this young and look that old.
Bro, he has that acceleration of Ferner, but he can dribble. It's mad.
And finish. Do you see that finish? When was the last time we saw a Chelsea player finish like that? It's
outrageous.
Oh, Pulisic against Palace. But except from when we play Palace.
It's identical to Palace. Pulisic goal.
But only when we play Palace can he do that. So it's like West Brom against
pre-season.
It was more like
it's a good shout pre-season.
True. Very good shout. Yeah. Fair point.
Laurenz,
let's get to Thiago Silva then. Go on.
Laurenz. It was more like the Higuain against Huddersfield goal. You remember the first one?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Jesus Christ.
Did you see Higuain's beard these days?
Yeah,
like muddy,
it looks like he's trying to grow a focohila on his fucking chin. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, which way? Let's get to Thiago Silva. Again, I still think he should have done a bit better for the goal, but outside of that, there's not really much to criticize, but also not really much to praise. I don't think his progressive passing was as good as I... Sorry?
I forgot he was even on the pitch at one point, to be honest. Like,
exactly.
we were playing so high up, and they were playing so defensively for, I think at halftime we had 73% possession, for Christ's sake. Like, got to the second half, then I forgot he was even on the pitch. Like, so many of all of our defenders, it was so long since they touched the ball. Again, not a bad thing that Silva. I think when he had the chances come towards him, he defended it well. On their counter attacks, whenever we made the mistakes, which we made plenty, some of the passes back to the defenders that we had were putting in dangerous positions. Again, they could have easily scored like 3 or 4 goals from the positions that we gave them. I think the defense dealt with it well, but I think, again, similar to what Con said, again, you can't really give any players more than like a 6 or a 6.5 at max, to be honest. I think Christensen more of a 6.5, but Silva's, I would say, get probably like a 6 or 5.5, to be honest.
I think Silva got lucky that Bernardeschi missed the sitter in the first half after Kovacic's mistake, because that's where you saw Silva's lack of pace. Can you blame Silva for that? Obviously, it's Kovacic's mistake. Because I think he was partly to blame for the goal, I would personally give him a 5. But, Pys, what would you give Thiago today?
To be fair, it's really difficult in defence because I thought they were all right. But, I mean, the main problem was not the defence. It was the wing-backs and the forwards, if you get what I mean. So I don't really think the ratings matter too much in defence. Just give them sort of all an average rating, to be honest.
Fair. That is fair. Con, what about yourself?
Probably around a 5.5. Just
we can do 5.5 because it's Thiago and we love him. Christensen, it's going to be interesting. I'll go to you last on this one, Harry, because I presume you're going to be the most positive, because I wasn't particularly pleased with Christensen today. Not because he was awful as such, but I feel like today I realised for the first time properly why he usually doesn't play right centre back and why Aspi and Reece James are both way better there. Because I feel like he slowed our build up down on that side so much today. Like usually our build up is always on the right because we start with the right centre back. Because Aspi, for the most part, and every now and again Reece, are the best with the ball in that kind of situation from the back three. Not saying Rudiger is bad, not saying Thiago's bad, not saying Christensen is bad when he's in the middle, not at all. But because they're more fullbacks, they're like more, rather than I'm a centre-back, I'll take my time to play a pass, they're more like a fullback type, okay, I need to get a ball out of my feet type thing. And I feel like we felt that today a little bit. And obviously against City, that was never going to be a problem. They pressed us like stupid. But against Juve, with pressing in moments, but for the most part, sitting quite deep, I feel like we missed a little bit of pace from the right centre-back in terms of build. But obviously he didn't really make a mistake. He wasn't to blame for the goal. So I would probably just put him the same as Thiago because it's a different small mistake or a different small problem that he had, but overall just average. I mean, that's what I would say. But let me go with you first this time, Con. Would you agree with that, or do you not think that his playing out slowed us down at all?
I'll give him lower, to be honest. I thought this is one of the worst Christensen performances I've watched in a while, especially under Tuchel. He got spun so many times in that first half. Chiesa had him on strings. He nutmegged him. He spun him.
True, I forgot
Chiesa was all over him. He was all over him, and I was like, "This is a really bad game for AC." Luckily, in the second half, besides the first 11 seconds, our defense looked solid. And besides that, was it Bernardeschi chance? Didn't really have much, but I think AC was pretty bad today. And I love him. You know me, Laurenz. I always fight the AC battle, but everything from his passing to his one-on-one defending, it was all terrible in his standards. I'd probably give him a 4. I think he was a lot worse than Silva and Rudiger. A lot
Fair
worse.
Dude. See, after what you said, I don't even necessarily disagree, even though I think 4 is maybe a tad harsh. But I hear what you're saying. Pys, what about yourself? Do you agree with Con more on my end, or do you agree with Harry and you think he was really good? Or good at least?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did get spun a few times, but I mean, Chiesa's just quality. So I don't know whether that's Christensen playing really bad. I mean, if he locks Chiesa up, then I'll be like, wow, that's unreal, because Chiesa's like one of the most on-form players in Europe, period, at the moment, especially after the Euros. So he did get spun. I do agree. I feel like he did slow down the ball question a little bit, but I feel like as well, bro, I said this earlier, we were all just so slow. It was just so side to side, go out wide, don't try any risky passes through the middle that might start up an attack. No, let's not do that. Let's turn back. Let's, go sideways. It was just all repetitive. It was slow. Just really passive we was really the whole game. So I'm not sure whether that was an individual problem. I think it's more of a team problem, to be honest with you.
Fair. So what rating would you give him in the end then?
I mean, to be fair, I think they should all get the same rating, to be honest with you. Maybe Christensen a bit lower just because he did get beat on one-on-ones, but 5.5 maybe. I think Rudiger's too high though. I don't know about you guys.
I
mean, we can certainly put Rudiger down to a 6.
I think based on that argument,
I just don't see
a 6 for Rudiger is probably the best
But
to
like,
be fair.
what did Rudiger do better than those two? Like, I thought everyone was
No,
just
nothing.
kind of on a...
Nothing.
Not get beat.
Christensen was the better out of the three, I think, personally.
No, I disagree. Rudiger never got beat
Oh,
once.
come
anyway.
on. Why?
No, he didn't.
Bro, I saw
Rudiger didn't have a bad game, I don't think. But
Christensen
I think
was like 3 yards away from Chiesa, and Chiesa spun him. How does that happen?
Yeah,
when
I
you-
know,
you've
but
got that
have you
space?
seen how good
That doesn't
Chiesa
happen to
is?
Rudiger. Nobody. When Chiesa was on the other side, he didn't beat Rudiger once. When he goes to AC side, bang, easy. And I love AC as well. If I'm going to be biased to anyone in defense, it's going to be AC because he's the one I like the most. And if I can say this about him,
I just think I think Christensen got put in the mud, like put in muddy situations far more than the other two, and was sort of like that. Some of that there was so, and you can't say otherwise. There were so many opportunities where they had their especially in the first half, they had their chances where it's come from a bad pass from either Kovacic or Jorginho or Azpilicueta or whatever, and it's come back. And most of the time, it has come back to Christensen, who hasn't got the time to react. And he either thinks, do I react to the pass and try and lunge into it and risk getting yellow carded, or do I swivel and try and track back and try and close it down?
can I make a point to you, bro? Do you remember when he got spun and he literally tried to take out? I think it was Chiesa. He tried to barge him over, and he couldn't even do that. Chiesa just carried on running. He literally
He's
let
pacey,
into
though.
him.
He's a pacey little shit, isn't he?
Bro, Christensen's played against Salah. He's played against
He's
Mane.
pacey.
He's played against...
See, the problem with that argument, while I do see, well, you have a point, Harry, with if the opponent's that good, do you blame the defender
I love
as
the
much?
boys. I'm trying to defend
But by
them
that
all.
logic, we need to give our forwards not that low of a rating because Juve were defensively also really good. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I mean, they also had 7 of them in their 6-yard box. To be fair, so
I mean,
they
yeah,
were so
sure.
deep.
But, yeah.
They were
That's how
so
we played
deep.
against City, and they scored against us.
Yeah.
So what
this is true.
rating would you give Christensen? Because I realised we're already live for an hour and we've not even done
I know.
4 players yet,
I said to you on the Twitter there's a lot to cover, mate.
It's true. It's true.
I will agree. He's not lower than Rudiger. I will say he's not the same as I would say he's a 6 personally. At the lowest, I'll compromise and say Christensen was a 6, but
I don't think that's as low as you're going to compromise here because just for democracy.
I don't think he was as bad as you guys are making him out to be.
I mean, if Con says 4, you say 6, Pice and myself say 5. I think we end up on a 5 just for that reason. But hey, you've still made your opinion clear. So this is not just your rating, I suppose.
Of course.
But
and I'll back all the boys to the end. So I'm obviously going to be biased as well. So
that's fair. It's fair. I do quickly want to read out this super chat here by Jamie. Appreciate it a lot. Saying I think today proved what a pivotal role James plays in our defense and attack and play. His strength, speed, and forward play was sorely missed tonight. I mean, I agree, but I also think I'm also not sure how much of a difference it would have made, if I'm being totally honest with you. But maybe it would have done. It's a tough one to call. Shall we just, to make it easier, rather than going through the subs at the end, shall we just do Chalobah straight away? Because, I don't know, might make it simpler. It was weird. Obviously, Chalobah in the end was right centre-back, but initially, before Barkley came on, was playing in the middle of a 3. One of you is messing around with their microphone. I'm not sure which one it is, but one of you is making like weird noises. Now it's stopped, so you've probably figured it out. Anyway, Chalobah for a while was the deepest of a midfield 3 after we made the changes in the second half and changed to a 3-5-2, and then Barkley came on, Cover moved to the deepest of the 3, and Chalobah moved into the back 3. I mean, in midfield he was decent, in defence he didn't really do anything because by then we were just trying to score but couldn't. So I don't know, give him a 6.5, something like that, or maybe a 6. Too high? I didn't see him really do anything wrong, but I wouldn't say he did anything good either.
Don't remember him doing anything, to be honest.
I didn't mind him in midfield.
I remember him getting fouled in a decent position for Chelsea and the referee not giving it to him, to be fair. But apart from that, again, like I agree with Pice, he didn't do much, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. So
I don't know why we bought him.
What rate would you go? Sorry?
was a weird sub. I don't know why we brought him on.
I think because Jorginho was, first of all, not playing well, and second of all, Tuchel already told us he had an issue for the City game, and now he starts him again. I'm like,
Saul was a pointless signing then, isn't it? Because he doesn't even come on. Like,
we brought Barkley on over Saul, yeah. But I don't know. So, what would you give Chelsea with Empires? 5, 6, something like
that? If I'm completely honest, I'd give him an NA because personally, I didn't watch him much. I didn't really see him.
Fair. Con?
I'd probably give him like a 5 or a 6. Like, he tried to progress the ball forward. He was running. I liked that little bit when he was in defence and he beat like 2 players and he passed it forward. So I wouldn't give him an NA because he did do a fair bit. I'd probably give him he was better than Christensen, so that's a 6. 6 fair.
Yeah, like I said, I probably would have gone there because it's I do think our second half was a bit better than the first half, aside from conceding. Like there was a bit more to it, but still nothing, if that makes sense. But Harry, I'm not sure if you gave a rating for Chalobah, but what would you give him?
No, I'll agree. Whatever they said. Like I said, he gave the ball away a few times, but I just said like I just make the scoring opportunity that we had. The referee didn't give it, but apart from that, I didn't really see too much of him, to be honest.
Fair. I will just give him the 5.5 because I still think Rudiger was pretty decent. Maybe he was more to blame for the goal than I realised. So yeah, but it doesn't matter. No, we'll get to Alonso, so that's fun. 0. Gave him a 1 last time. That wasn't enough for Tuchel not to start him.
You gave him a 1.
Yeah, and that wasn't a push.
It's fair. I know. I back him, like I do. But
hey, but to be honest,
he's been shocking. He's been
as much as we disagree. It's kind of fun to have someone that like disagrees with like our.
I'm not deluded in the way that you guys think. That like I just like he's a bit of a shithouse, and he's almost our Vardy in a way. Like he's a bit of a shithouse. But I backed him attacking wise. He has got the potential, but not the pace. He defensively is shocking, and certainly in the last 2-3 games, he's been fucking awful. So sorry for my language, but he's a 0. He warrants a 0 today for sure. Fair.
Does anyone disagree?
I mean, do we do minus ratings? Like, do we start that?
Let's keep it at 3 because I don't add 0 because otherwise it's too difficult. But
you know my thoughts on Alonso. Like, yeah, just move on to the next player, please.
Fair dues. Con, do you also agree with the 0?
Yeah, useless.
Fair. Let's get to Aspi. Well, in my opinion, by far the most to blame for the goal. I still can't comprehend how he misjudged that long ball so badly. Not something we're used to from him. Like if Hudson-Odoi does that, have a go at him, and he's not a defender, and Aspi did it. Like what is that? Now we're getting to the players where I was really unhappy. So I don't know. Give Aspi at a push of 4. I'd be okay with a 3.
I mean, Aspi, I do feel bad for him because he's just not a wing back, but. You gotta love him. Like he's done everything for Chelsea. Like he does, he'll do any position. He's just useless there, and that's not his fault necessarily. I think like he's not quick. He doesn't, he's not going to take anyone on, deliver amazing crosses. Like sometimes he does do good crosses, but not like. I know he's just not really a wing back, is he? So it's a weird one.
Yeah, I do see what you mean. Like obviously he's a bit. It's unfortunate. It's not his best position. The whole team's struggling. And then makes things even more difficult for him. But if we're being objective on the day, what did he provide? Didn't really help. Like we didn't need to do much defensively because all they did was counter-attack down the middle, and offensively didn't provide anything. So what positive can we say about him? I suppose
that's kind of what he does at wingback, right? It's like whenever I see him start there, I'm like, he'll do a job, but it's not. I don't know. It's not like one of the main. It's just he does a job. Aspi's always been like that. But yeah, I mean, for the goal, I'm not too sure anyway. Because as I said, I walked in when he was just about to shoot. So you can judge on that one.
Yeah, let's see what the chat is saying here. Aspi, I mean, Emil saying 3. Big up Emil, by the way. Chronic Overboss, odd name. Aspi would be 5. Aspi's no more than a 1. Aspi 3, 4.5, 2. It's a tough one. Sorry, did you say something, Harry? I didn't quite understand.
No, I think you missed a super chat, by the way.
Did I?
I think so.
Was it not by Jamie?
Yeah. Or did you mention that?
I did read that out. The Reece James one. I did.
All right, yeah, sorry, my bad.
All good.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, on that note, what did you make of Aspi then?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I've literally, because as I said at the start of your of this video, it's I missed the goal because of technical difficulties, but I've just watched it back properly now, and it's a howler from Aspi, to be honest. Massive. I love him to death. Don't get me wrong, but God, that is quite possibly the worst I've ever seen him defend any sort of opportunity going, from an attacking team.
I've never seen Aspi do that.
It's so uncharacteristic of him to, like, I'm watching it again now, and he just does like a, what does he do? He does like he just sort of like shrugs back and just allows.
It's like you have no idea where the ball was.
Is it Rabiot? It's Rabiot, isn't it? Who just absolutely. So it comes in. Rabiot just heads, and he does what every Sunday league sort of like level player does, where you can't be asked. You're hungover. You can't be asked to jump for the header, and you just like just lean back. The geezer who's got way more energy just jumps forward and gets the header, and Rabiot gets it on. It like you say, I wasn't sure if it did start from Azpilicueta, but it does, and he's been a great captain. I think a lot of people doubt him as a captain since he's been in that captain's role, obviously taken over from Terry and obviously Cahill, but that's arguably the worst bit of play I've ever seen him do in a captain's armband for sure. So just for that, I'm gonna give him a 5.
A 5?
Yeah, 5.5. 5.5 max. Just
bloody hell!
I think no,
you
know I love it. I love him to death. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's so rare for him to make a bad mistake like that when he does, it's a sign that he's had a bit of a stinker. So 6 max, 5.5 for me, I think.
Bloody hell, I think that's very high, but that's fair. You know,
really?
everyone has
You think that's high?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I would have given him a 3 or a 4.
Really? Oh my god!
I just think like the back three is the only acceptable part of the team. No, but I just think the back three was the only somewhat acceptable part of the team because Juve had 2 shots on target or 1. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they scored from. So how much can you really blame the back three for the whole thing? But anyone higher up the pitch was just god bloody awful all day, in my opinion. So.
Someone just said in the chat, I think Aspi needs a break, and I agree. To be honest, if you remember a couple of years ago, he was like our longest serving. I think he held the record for the most games in a row for a Chelsea player in history. Might have been a couple of years ago, like a few years ago now. But he's played so many games for Chelsea, bless him, and he's pushing it now age wise, and he's not exactly our strongest player. He definitely brings the morale. He is a leader. He wasn't at the start of his role as a captain, I must say. I wasn't sure of him as a captain, but he's definitely blended into that role very well. But after a game like today, I think he really has shown that he's either getting older or, you know, he's sort of falling out of that role of being one of the contenders for starting lineup in this Chelsea team.
At least at right wing back.
Because I love him so much.
Maybe a bit different, but I hear what you're saying. Con, I'm not actually sure what rating Pys would have given Aspi. I'll come back to you, Pys, at the end. But Con, what rating would you give Aspi today?
I'd give him a 3. I think it was a terrible performance, and you know, can't be too shocked playing Aspi as a right wing back against a low block like Juve, especially with Allegri, Chiellini, Bonucci. I know Chiellini came on late, Bonucci. These guys know how to defend like that, you know. And what's Aspi going to give you in the attack? Let's be real. He's not going to give you much. So for that, I don't blame him because, you know, he's just not that player. And that mistake, so unlike Aspi. And if that was any other player, we'd be like, what were they doing there, etc. So we got to be fair with Aspi. We all love Aspi here. If there's a player that nobody has an agenda on, it's probably Aspi, let's be honest. But today,
for sure.
Probably true.
It's just a horrible performance. And, you know, it's rare from him. But, you got to call a spade. And for me, it's 3.
Pice, just remind me, like I said, if you did say a rating, I can't remember it. So what would you give Aspi?
I didn't, but like Kante, 3 or 4. Definitely wasn't as bad as Alonso, but I still think it was just not a great.
I'm giving him the 4 just because Harry was going to go so high. Because, to at least include Harry.
I clearly was looking at different games. I wasn't paying attention to. I just leave Aspi to do his thing.
Fair dues. Let's quickly get.
He clearly had a bad game.
Yeah, let's quickly get Chile and Hudson out the way, because honestly, if we take this long for every player, we're going to be here for 3 hours. Chile, I would just say a simple 5. Nothing good, nothing really bad. That's all I have to say. So 5. Con.
5 works for me.
Fair. Pice.
Yeah, probably a 5, maybe a bit less. Didn't think he was great.
We can do 4 as well if you want to do 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think he was that great, to be honest, but still clear of Alonso.
We can't give Aspi a 4 and Chile a 4 when Aspi was at fault for the goal. That doesn't work.
4.5 then.
Off you go, Harry. What about you?
For Chilwell?
Yeah.
Probably 4.5. I'd say. Yeah, didn't do too much when he came on. Didn't play badly by any means, but he just didn't do any better than anyone else, to be honest.
Yeah, let's go to Callum. It's a weird one because Pice criticised it heavily. Why is he coming out wing back? And I not criticised it, but we were talking about it on the preview yesterday, where I was like, well, what does he do though when he comes on? I feel like today he did more than he usually does at right wing back. Still not a lot, but at least a little bit more. He played a few crosses that Kai nearly got on the end of, or Lukaku nearly got on the end of, or like a few things. He tried to get past on a show. He's limited because he doesn't own a left foot, so he always has to go down the same side, which Sandro clocked very quickly and made it very difficult. But from a bunch of really bad players, was not as bad as most of the others, I thought. Maybe you guys disagree, but I'm not saying he was good by any means. Well, I was going to be here and give him a 5 now, but maybe a 5.5 to 6, but that had a push. But that's why I said, Harry, why don't you go first?
I think you were saying earlier about Aspilicueta being a bit of a push for what I was saying. Yeah, I just, from what I saw, again, I might be distracted because I'm doing the stream and all sorts. So you got to give me the benefit of the doubt. But I thought Hudson-Odoi was shocking when he came on. I've always backed him from day one.
Don't you think he still provided more than Aspi? Don't you still think he provided more than Aspi?
He was, for sure. I'll give him the benefit that he was trying a lot harder to provide options, but he wasn't providing options. Do you know what I mean? He gave the ball away a lot. He was very weak. I'll be generous. I'll give him what did you say you'd give him?
Anywhere between a 5 and a 6.
Okay, I'll give him a 5.5 then, in that case. But I think even that's being generous. I just feel like if he'd started the game, for sure, I think he would have had a better game. But I just don't think he blended into the game that well.
I hear that too, to be fair. I hear that too. Pice, let me go with you next.
For sure, if he started the game, he would have had a better game.
Potentially, yeah. Maybe. Pice, what about you? What did you make of Callum today? I know you were super frustrated with him coming on a wing-back in the first place, but how did you think he performed in that role, I suppose?
I just want to bang my head against the wall, but I thought he was pretty good to me. I thought he was energetic. He put a couple of decent crosses in. He took on his man. There was one where I can't remember who he beat, but he really skinned some guy and then put a ball in the box. I can't remember who the defender was, but I remember.
Probably Sandro.
I can see the scene in my head if you get what I mean. But I forgot like who the defender was. But yeah, he was taking people on. He was energetic. He was trying to make an impact. And yeah, I mean, he's more direct than any wing back we've got, to be honest with you, because I saw a comment earlier saying we missed Reece's pace and going forward. Like, I tweeted this the other day. Reece never takes anyone on when he plays wing back. Like, he does the same thing as Aspi. He turns around and passes it back. Like, Reece hardly even crosses anymore. Like, it's compared to the volume he used to do. Like, I thought Lukaku would be feasting with Reece, but I just guess that's not really in Tuchel's game plan like it was with Lampard, because under Lampard we crossed so much, and yeah. Anyway,
Well,
I'm going on
Reece
a bit of
did
a tangent.
assist a goal for Lukaku the other week, but outside of that,
Oh
you're
yeah,
right.
no, I'm not saying Reece doesn't cross at all. I'm just saying, like, do you remember the volume? Like when Reece used to just every single
under
single
Lampard,
game,
like 15 a game. Yeah.
Bro,
No,
but
100%.
it was crazy because you remember how many good balls he put in, and we was like, oh, where's the striker? And now we got Lukaku, and it's just like, oh, we don't really do it anymore. It's kind of like I kind of miss the cross spam a little bit. It's kind of like one of those situations where you're like, yeah, but yeah, with Hudson-Odoi, he made an impact. He tried to anyway. A couple of decent crosses. Yeah, 5 or 6 maybe, 5.5, something like that.
Isn't it funny how you and Harry sounded very different about him, but ended up giving him the same rating?
Exactly.
It's very
and
interesting.
apparently, according to someone in the chat, I must have been watching the Ryder Cup. We
No,
get
he
the
was-
same
he was very
fucking
low.
rating.
Hey,
What do you think?
it's played on a green, so close enough.
Listen, I know I'm new to I'm new to the old scene, but Jesus Christ, give me some credit. I
No,
back everyone, but I'm also very critical.
People will get used to it, mate. Con, what about you? What about Callum?
The one thing with Callum I don't get right is people say he's played out of position, which I think they're referring to the right and not as the wing back, because our wing backs play very high and wide like a winger, and our inside 10s, Ziyech and Havertz played today, play narrow. So if Hudson-Odoi joined the front line, he wouldn't still play in his natural position, right? So as a wing back, he's playing more to his natural position than anywhere else in this system. So I don't like hearing that excuse for Hudson-Odoi, especially games like this. But I do think he was decent today. He created a good chance for Lukaku. Horrible header. But,
True. That header he should have done better with too.
yeah, I know what Pies was talking about. It was Sandro he skinned. He put the ball in.
Although I feel like for me, if we're talking about the same moment, he didn't skin him as much as Pice explained it there.
No,
it sounded
not
like
really,
Callum
but
did something amazing, and to me, he more tripped over Sandro's legs and somehow got past it.
Well, I mean,
If we're thinking of the same
it was
moment.
on the floor, so
Bro,
yeah,
we're
he got
starving, man.
past
Come
him.
on, we're down bad.
It's-
We're down bad.
Yeah,
We need this,
it's
man.
true.
But no, I feel we went lively. I know Harry said he kept going back, but there was 2 on him every time, man. Like, what do you want him to do? So I felt bad for him in that sense. So I think a 6. I think out of everybody who was forward today, I think he probably was the best one, to be honest.
See, I don't disagree, and because I don't, 2 6s, 2 5.5s, my channel. Anyway, let's get to Kovacic and Jorginho.
Oh God, though.
I don't even know. Like, Cover made that one great run in the second half. We talked about it earlier. That was good. Fair play, Cover. Outside of that, shocking. Especially those 2 moments where he lost the ball, where we were just lucky not to concede. And Jorginho, not quite as bad mistakes, but also the first 10 minutes, 2 very uncharacteristic misplaced passes. I'm like, what's that? And then just in general, I mean, Juve, obviously, being Juve, they clearly tried to take him out of the game, which in my opinion is why he got taken off, because he was just man-marked by Locatelli all game long. So that, like, I don't even think he was, well, in possession, I don't think he did so many awful things, but he just never even had the ball, I feel like, in comparison to usual. And because he was man-marked, then his passing wasn't as good as usual either. So they were just both poor. I mean, I would probably give them both. To be honest, I'm not sure how Aspi ended up with the 4 here, but Kovacic and Jorginho, because Aspi got a 4.
Do you think 4? What you mean? 4 is high or 4 is low?
4 is high.
What? Okay.
Because I would like to
say
give
it's your channel.
I would like to give both Kovacic and Jorginho a 3 here, but they're not worse than Aspi, so I have to go 4. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Bro,
But-
you're lucky you're not a Werner fan when me and Laurenz are going in on Werner during these streams.
Yeah. Oh, if anyone's a Ziyech fan, get ready. Get ready. Get like your tea out and like
Leave Ziyech till last. I'm telling
Con
you,
loves Ziyech.
leave him till last. Feed him to the dogs.
Con loves a bit of Ziyech, so get ready.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
But because you just mentioned Con, what about Kova and Jorginho? Just because I want to get through them a bit quicker, that's why I just put both. I don't know. There's not much between them. Obviously, Jorginho came off. Kova played the whole game. If you want to give them different ratings, fair dues. But what ratings would you give them, Con?
I'd give them 2 5s. I don't think I think Aspi was worse than both. Yeah,
I agree with that.
I think
Actually.
Aspi should be 3. Then I'd be happy giving Kova and Jorginho 4.
Because of Harry and because it's the first time on his channel, I do it at 3.5. But I agree, it shouldn't be a 4. So then, Kova, do we view 4.4, 4.5, or 4?
I'd still give him 5. I know they weren't great, but Jorginho, I think in that first half, he stopped 5 attacks from Juventus on his own, and that's still impressive, you know. And Kovacic, he was trying to make things happen. It's hard when everybody in front of you is not moving, you know. Where's he meant to pass? Like, he's gonna go back. There's no movement in front of you where you go backwards. So, but then again, just because they're in that situation,
exactly 5 attacks he stopped. That's such a specific number. How detailed were you watching this game? What?
You probably saw stats on Twitter, I presume.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, surely you're watching stats for that. There's no way you know that off the top of your head. Surely.
I do agree with this comment, by the way, just quickly. They are being overused.
Yeah, 100%.
And in an ideal world, at least one of them would not have started today. But here we are, because Kante is always out for some reason. And I know people have a go at me for saying this, but he is, because people love to say about Pulisic, but for some reason, Kante is immune to this.
Laurenz, I love you for saying that. I said this to my best friend the other day. I said, when Pulisic's out injured, everybody says that as a negative towards him. But when it's Nagolo, and don't get me wrong, Nagolo is probably the best player in this team, but nobody says a word. Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
To be fair, I do.
Smile. Leave him alone.
To be fair, I do see a lot of
Leave him
people
alone.
saying we should start considering selling Kante because of all the injuries. I see a lot.
See, I don't say that. I just say he should, if you're going to be that kind of person that has a go at players for being injured or unavailable, also illness is unavailability. If you're going to be the kind of person to have a go at that, then have a go at both and not just Pulisic, because that's not fair.
What do you guys value here at Kante at on his day? Obviously, like, okay, let's say like a year ago when he was obviously he's not at his best right now, but like last season, Champions League winning season, where would you value him? Because I haven't seen anywhere on Twitter or Instagram or anything like giving any rumors or anything like so-and-so's. PSG's obviously going to go for Kante at some point.
No, they did. They did last summer. They did this summer.
But it was like an unofficial thing, wasn't it? It wasn't like
they asked us, would you consider, like, what would it take? And we just said no and just shut the door. Like, you can't put a price on Kante.
I'm so surprised considering even like the season after he joined us when we won the league, and obviously the season after, no one, I don't remember anyone like officially coming in on the news or anything like Sky Sports News, anything, even Talk Sport coming in saying so-and-so has put in an offer for Kante. Where would you guys value? What would you value him at now? Because he is arguably on his day one of the best in his position in the world.
It's because
not the best in the world in his position.
Bro, a lot of things go on behind the scenes that don't actually then get leaked into the media. Like, I'm sure a lot of offers go on right now, like, and even in the future, like, and in the past with Kante, I'm sure like this PSG offer that actually got put into the media, but there's obviously a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes where clubs will ask, like, what would you value Kante at, for example? But because we just shut the door because we value him as priceless, because even though he gets injured so much, he's so good in big games. Like, that's why it never gets leaked into the media much, because it's just we just shut the door instantly. So
what would you value him at the moment though, on his day?
It's difficult because of his age.
Given today's prices as well, bear in mind.
Yeah, the problem is that he's 30.
He's over 100 million.
On his day happens. That on his day happens either like 2 or 3 games in a row, and then he's out again for a month, and then it happens 1 game, and then he's out again, and then it happens 2 or 3 games again, and like that, we're kind of in that cycle. So it's
100 mil.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to pay you 100 mil for it.
That's the problem.
I would ask.
That's what's so confusing, because he is reckoned like in his position on his day. He's reckoned at like the best in the world. Really,
yeah, but he's 30. He is.
But I know he's nearly 30, if not nearly 30.
No, he just turned 30 recently.
Yeah. So it's a strange one. I'm saying like a couple of years. I'm surprised we've never had someone come in like a sort of like a. Come in all guns blazing, money on the table. Here it is, 120 mil, whatever. But it's because it's Chelsea. People don't value our players as highly as we do.
Yeah,
but
clearly.
But
just quickly, because honestly, we've been going for like an hour and a half already. So, Harry, for Kova and Jorginho, what would you give them then? Because
4.5 each, personally. At max, that's a maximum thing as well. I thought they played the same, if not just a tiny bit better than they did against City, but still giving the ball away like needlessly, putting like suicide balls to either Alonso, Aspi, Rudiger, or Christensen, like really dangerous balls, putting them in like harm's way. So 4.5 max for me personally.
Okay, Pys, what about yourself?
Yeah, probably similar. What I will say though is they definitely need a rest, especially Jorginho. I think on Saturday, I don't know when are we playing Southampton? Is it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday, I think.
Saturday, of course, because we never get rest.
Yeah, Saturday. I'd like to see Loftus-Cheek start. Honestly, like I just think both of them are getting really tired.
Watch Barkley start.
I wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you. I mean, he came on like I never thought we'd use him, but Tuchel was actually kind of using him in Loftus-Cheek, and I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. I didn't think he would. But
no, neither did I.
Especially
after we took his number away. Like I know he was out on loan, so the number was kind of
like even
vacant.
Malang Sarr in the cup, right? I was like, there's no way he's actually going to play Malang Sarr against Aston Villa. I thought he was going to play like Chalobah left centre back or something, and then just try and figure out a different solution on the other side. But it looks like he wants to use the whole squad, so anything's possible. To be fair.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I know. Con, you said 5 for both, and I am sorry, but I think 5 is too average for how poor we were as a team today. Ruben, here comes my bias. So for the first 10 minutes of when he was on, I would have given him an 8 because I was like, you're the best player again. And then after those 10 minutes, or 15 maybe, for some reason he started playing right wing back and Callum was in the middle, and then they switched again and it was all very odd. But he came on and I was like, finally someone that actually takes the ball and tries to go forward, because Jorginho didn't, Kovacic, in my opinion, didn't, maybe Pys disagrees, but not like Ruben did anyway. Like Ruben got the ball and every time, but that might be my bias, I will 100% admit this, but every time he received the ball, he opened it up, looked to either go past someone or pass it forward. Every time. And I'm like, he was the only player all day I saw doing that. But like I said, just fizzled out a bit after the first 15 minutes. So I would probably, and I know no outfield players, blah, blah, I don't care. I give him a 7. 8 for the first 15 and then 6 for after that. Do you think that's too low?
I'll keep it short and simple because I'll be honest, I can't remember how well he played, to be honest. So I'll agree with you. I'll give him a 6.5. Purely because I'll be honest. I was focused on two. By the time he came on, I was focusing on the bad performances of everyone rather than what can Ruben provide. So I'll give him a 6.5 or a 7 if you're wanting to round it up.
We'll see what the other two say. So
otherwise I'm going to ramble on for too long.
Con, what about you? What did you make of Big Ruben today?
I thought it was all right when he came on. He looked good. He was like sort of taking people on, kind of not. He wasn't really doing anything with the ball though. No, I think it was just all aesthetically nice to see, but nothing really.
Still better than the other ones, I thought.
Probably just because it looked nicer, but he wasn't really doing anything, you know. Like Hudson-Odoi, at least he came when he put in crosses. Loftus-Cheek, who really didn't do anything. So I think 5.5 is fair.
5. Bloody hell, doing me harsh here.
I do want to just quickly say, I know I just said I wasn't going to say anything. One of the comments saying like what was it? Ruben has the highest ceiling of all your midfield and has the potential to be the best in the center of midfield in the future.
This isn't 2014, bro.
No, you say that, but then against City, everyone was banging on about how it was 2014, 2015 Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming back. He didn't necessarily show that today, I wouldn't say, like he did against City, for instance. But he's definitely showing that he's got some fight in him to try and build himself back up. That's all I'll say. I don't know if any of you agree.
No, I definitely agree with that. I'm not sure if
I'm not by any means saying that he's anywhere near as good as he was before his injury. However, he's showing he has the fight and the grit and the determination to get that potential back in.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, bro, we're not West Ham where we want fight and grit and play to the last whistle. We want people who are going to.
When I saw
he's showing quick improvement. That's what I'm saying, because he very rarely gets he's been on loan for the last 2 fucking seasons. So like, it's a fact. It's a testament to him that he's. The last game, it got Twitter fucking went mad for him. So,
bro, just because of the timeline, I don't want to ramble on because, but I just want to say when he starts looking the best player in good performances, then I'll start taking that comment more.
Well, it's not his fault that he's only getting chances.
Give him a chance. Jesus Christ, he's just come back. He's come on loan for like the last
he's just
2
come back.
seasons.
He's
come back. No. He's gone on
way.
two seasons on loan. He had his injury before that.
Just one.
He had his injury. He went on. He went on loan for 2 seasons. He's come back and let him have his glory. You know what I mean? Like the Man City game, he come on, albeit we lost, but he got Twitter talking, saying like we saw glimpses of Ruben Loftus-Cheek before the injury. And fair play to him. He played well. This game, it was hard to really showcase what he was available to do because of how bad the rest of the team were playing. Like, he didn't get too much of a chance. But I think, based on the last 2 games that he has played, he's had minutes. Give him a chance. That's all I'm saying. I really think...
I do think Con
I think he's got the chance to... He's trying to prove himself. Do you know what I mean?
And he will. I mean, if however many chances he will get, we will see what is still left in Big Ruben. But the last 3 games, Villa, City, and today, I was today not saying he was as good as against Villa in particular, but still better than the other midfielders, I thought. But Pais, what rating would you give Ruben today?
5, maybe.
5? Bloody hell!
I mean, he didn't really do much. I mean, it was.
Well, at least he was the only guy to try to feed those passes to Lukaku, which you told me earlier no one was playing. He was the only one that at least tried them.
Oh no, Kovacic tried a lot in the first half. He was the only one going forward with it, but Jorginho wasn't.
Well, you said 5. Con said 5.5. I said 7. Harry said 6.5.
You're so biased.
I am biased. No, I did not. But at least I don't hide it. You try to pretend you're not about Kovacic, so you know.
No, I don't. No, I'm 100% fair. I said Kovacic didn't play great today, but
but you just said he tried passes, which he just never did all game long, in my opinion. But anyways, we can't be held up too long.
What are you on about?
I just never saw Kovacic playing any pass to Lukaku ever. I can't lie, but maybe I just missed it. Honestly, when have these passes happened? But anyway, let's get to. I don't even know anymore. Get Barkley out of the way.
Till last. I'm saying that leave him till last.
Let's get Barkley out of the way. I can't lie. I think Barkley deserves the highest rating of any outfield player because he's the only one who created an actual goal-scoring opportunity.
Weirdly, yeah.
But obviously, he didn't do that much. But I don't know. I can't lie. He didn't look so out of place as you'd presume. But Pais, let me go with you first this time round. What do you make of Barkley? I was surprised that he looked decent.
Really didn't notice much of him, to be honest with you. But
until the chance for Lukaku, I presume.
Until the chance, which was a decent ball through, to be fair.
Yeah.
Which I've already said. I don't know. A lot of people were saying it's a sitter. I was like, well, not really. I mean, you do expect them to probably score it, but it wasn't really a sitter. I think people were just really pissed off at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a decent pass. Kind of run it back to the Everton days, the Barkley Lukaku link up, but. Apart from that, I didn't really notice him on the ball too much. Off the ball, he's making some decent movements. He was drifting out to the left-hand side quite a bit, I noticed. But yeah, I mean, at that point, we was just trying everything, so it was kind of a mess in the end.
Yeah. So, what rating would you give him then?
6.
That's fair. I'd probably go with that too. To be honest, considering what we gave the other players, Barkley?
To keep this chance sweet, yeah, probably 6 because he created the best chance. But can I just say how embarrassing it is and how damn bad Chelsea are in attack that we're bringing on Ross Barkley?
Oh yes, very bad.
I was so embarrassed, man. So embarrassed.
Yeah, honestly. Harry, do you agree on the 6?
I wouldn't go that far. I by no means, I'm not a fan of Barkley at all. Like,
Who is?
How he's still at the club, I've got no idea. I'll keep it short and simple as well. I'll agree. 6, maybe more. Maybe again, like you said, for the opportunity created, but like a 6, yeah, probably.
Fair. That is fair. Like I said, why not? Let's leave Ziyech to last. Let's get to Kai. And Kai is... I do. When I think about Kai, I even feel my own bias because I should be way harsher on him than I have been. Because quite frankly, it's been absolutely awful this season. Like the header against Liverpool, but I mean that's it. That's almost like the only good thing I can remember him doing was that goal. Maybe I'm missing something now because obviously I'm frustrated today. So
the Arsenal build-up, it was good in the Arsenal build-up goals.
True. That you make a fair point. That is very true. But still, though, there's still very limited things, right? In terms of, I was like, okay, he's won us the Champions League. He's going to kick on. He was very good at the Euros to some extent. Obviously, Germany got still knocked out early, but still was one of Germany's better players. Tuchel was telling us he seems more confident and this and that. And now I see him play, and I'm like, where? You don't dribble. You don't even... Today, he attempted to go past people. I will say that, but failed every time. Whenever he tries to shoot, he's like, he doesn't even know how to spell the word power. Like he always just swings his ankle. It's like when a tennis player just doesn't understand he's playing tennis, not table tennis. Like, use your whole leg, please, mate, when you're trying to shoot. The headers, I'm not going to be too, critical of him for the headers at the end. They were all quite high. Yeah, sure, could he do a bit better? Of course. But like I said, the balls were all a bit high, and everyone knows high balls are just very difficult to get down for any player, let alone a player that's good in the air, but he's not quite Drogba now, is he? But I said it's just not enough. Like, he doesn't move around enough for me. There's not, like, I would really love to see the stats for Kai Havertz, how many, like, distance covered, and then how much of that is sprinting. I feel like I never see Kai sprint ever, except we're on a counter-attack. Then
he jogs, doesn't he? He jogs.
He just moves around, and yes, that's silky smooth, and that's that's good.
It's not quite Sterling, but when he runs, it's sort of like the T-Rex arms. He just does like the, I don't know what it is about Havertz. He just is so. It's even at his full stride, he just sort of like flops about. It's so weird. I love Havertz. Don't get me wrong, but he's so. It's like he's high.
See what you mean.
It's like he's high. When he's full sprint, it's like he's high. He's just sort of like, if I must go for that
because Kai is a very fast player. But even when he's running at his fastest, he looks like he could go faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe someone needs to give him some sprinting lessons. I don't know. That's not what I'm trying to be critical of here for Kai Havertz at all today. My rating would be a 2. You guys can say what you want to say. I would not give him any higher than a 2. I think it was absolutely shocking. Honestly, I really do think it was really bad. But let me go with you this time first, Con. I know you have a similar, just love for Kai as I do. I'm sure all of us do, especially since Porto, but even before that. That's part of why it's even more frustrating to me, because I think of him as so highly, and that's why it makes it so much more frustrating that he's playing so badly.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, Kai's more of a goal scorer than he is a creator. I think we all need to accept that. And, if you think he's going to be the guy to create 2 or 3 big chances a game, it's just not going to happen. It's not who he is.
But he should get better at that still. Like, he's so young.
Yeah, of course.
Even though he's that now, he should still be able to add that other part to his game.
Of course, Laurenz. But then again, he was playing false 9 last season. Now he's been lumped back on the right, trying to get used to a new striker, So it's hard. It's hard. But he's been poor. And I'm not excusing his poor performances before. I just said he was poor. He's dreadful today. And he needs to get out of this bad form, honestly, because it's not just bad. It's really bad, He's not offering anything at all. He's losing the ball, just not doing anything. And the 2 headers, the first one, a bit hard. Second one, get on target, lad. Come on, you're good in the air. You're better than that. So for me, probably a 2. And he's lucky he's getting that.
Fair. Harry, what about you?
Yeah. So I've muted my mic, but I don't know. I'm hoping you can hear me before. I feel that the last header, he should have at least got it on target, but you can't blame him too much for the chances that he had. Like, he made the most of it. He tried. It wasn't like he was, I mean, that shit. You can downgrade him all you want. Yes. A 2 though, it's a harsh. It's harsh.
Nah. So it's like,
No, again, like
who-
you say, it's your channel. You can say whatever you want.
no.
Like you say.
That's
I'm
not
not-
even what I'm trying to say. But I'm like,
I'm not
if
going to go any
not
higher than a
Havertz and
4.
Ziyech,
I'm not going any
who
higher than a
else-
4.
But Harry, if not Ziyech and Havertz, who are these kind of most creative positions, who do we put the most blame on for not creating anything? Like,
I'm saying Havertz and Werner are the best option we have in that position. Ziyech and Havertz has proven to be, time and time again, it doesn't fucking work. It never works. It never ever works. I'd like you say, we'll get onto Ziyech. Havertz next to Ziyech is. I know that the way you positioned it, they're not that close when they're playing, but I don't know what it is. It might be the German connection or anything like that, but it is like Havertz and Werner are a good connection when they do play, which is very rare under Tuchel, who is obviously, you know, 2 German players. I would not go any higher than a 4 for Havertz. That being said, I know you've obviously given him a 2. You obviously think 4 is a very high rating for him. But
yes,
I think benefit of that, I think 3.5 personally myself. I wouldn't.
Hey, that's fair.
2 is very. I think 2 is very, very low. It was arguably Havertz's worst performance in a Chelsea shirt. I'll give him that.
Up there
But
for sure.
I wouldn't give him a 2. I'd give him a 3.5.
Fair.
Again,
We
'cause
will
I am
obviously
biased
come to our
against Chelsea,
democratic.
you know.
No. We will come to our democratic final rating. Don't worry, I just put the 2 down for now. We have another super chat here by Jamie. Havertz has missed Mount. Simple. Partly true, but also he has played with Mount this season and was also poor. Example, first half against Spurs, Mount and Havertz both shocking. So it's not just quite as simple, but we still missed Mount. But Pice, just lastly, do you think myself and Connor a bit harsh on Kai, or do you agree?
Totally agree. Thought he was absolutely abysmal. And I'm a really big Havertz fan. Yeah, just lacked intensity. Was terrible on the ball. Can't dribble.
What did you say there? 3?
Huh?
Did you say 3? I don't know. My laptop was being weird.
No, I said he lacked intensity. He can't dribble.
Intensity. Okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, he can't dribble at all. I think he's got like one of the lowest dribbles completed in the whole Premier League so far this season. Yeah, just didn't link up well with Lukaku. Hardly ever shot. Lacked confidence. Unfortunately, it's kind of a bit of a thing with Havertz as well because he's known for starting seasons really, really slow.
I don't care. I don't care about that. Honestly, you are getting older. If that was a problem that you had before at Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, fix it. I'm not going to sit here for the next 5 years and every start of the season. Yeah, but he always has a poor start.
He's 22. He is 22.
Anyway.
Sorry, Pice. That was a bit harsh there. Go on.
I'm not saying that's a reason to be lenient on him. I'm saying like that's a worry. That's something he needs to fix. But him and Mount are in the development stage. Like they are still really young at the same time. So there is a certain amount of leniency you have, but at the same time, you play for Chelsea, you've got to deliver. So, honestly, 2 is. Honestly, I was going to give him and Ziyech both 0 because I thought they were shit. But I mean, you can go for a 2 if you want. I was going to give them both 0 though.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose that evens us out at a 2 because Harry actually wanted to give him a 4, even though he said 3.5. Myself and Con said 2. Pi said 0. So here we are at our 2.
I just honestly, though, these 2 today, like one of the worst performances I've seen from wide forwards in football history. They were terrible.
Honestly,
so bad.
I don't even disagree.
I'm laughing because it's so funny how shit they both were. It's like, what did I just actually watch? It was crazy.
Because you were so almost positive about Lukaku earlier, I do want to go with you first this time on Lukaku. What rating or how would you summarize Lukaku's performance and what rating would you give him?
I mean, as I said, like he made. You guys don't seem to think he made himself available. Like he ran the channel when there was space with the Rudiger over the top ball. Like, granted, yes, he could move about more a little bit. Like, he was a bit static.
Could also not let it bounce on the back of his head.
No, that's just
no, like, come on. That's like having a bad touch. It went out for a throw-in.
You guys are just
it's even funny because he's bald, but you know,
he's just had a ball fall on the back of his head.
He just smacked him on the back of the head. He knew nothing about it.
It's the same thing as Aspi misjudging the ball. Just he's a striker, not a defender. It's the same thing.
Sorry, guys, go on, son.
Yeah, I don't know how to judge him really. I was just frustrated we didn't use him more. Like, honestly, like he's developed this new back to goal play which he never had before, which makes him a more complete forward, and yet we just don't seem to want to link with him. Like,
I agree with that part completely, but
it's just stupid.
I just wish he did more than just that, and I feel like at the moment that's the only thing he's doing. I know, but 2 runs a game isn't enough for me to say he's doing both, and I know he had 2 runs, but 2 is not enough for me.
He could make more runs, but at the same time, like it was almost like if he did, it was going to be dead ends anyway, because it would just be, say, like run the right channel. He would probably get the ball, but then he'd have to play it back to Aspi and then get back in the box for a cross or whatever. Like
that's true.
So deep, that was the
I've
problem.
now thought of it how I want to explain what I would like to see from him. So maybe if I explain that, you understand a bit better what I mean. You know, when I said he doesn't move, I don't, and you said, but he goes over to the left and he goes up. That's true. But what I mean is, a bit like when you watch boxing, when the fighters are meant to be like quick on their feet, like always move, to be difficult to hit. I want Lukaku to not be so still. Like, I know he slowly goes to the left if the ball's there, and the ball goes to the right if the ball's there. But what I mean is, especially when the opposition, the defenders are so set and the midfield is so set, move around, like lose the defenders.
You want
a quick gap.
You want him to make like sudden movements, basically, like to disrupt
exactly
the
to receive a ball when the opposition is.
That's actually what I know we talked about him earlier. That's exactly what Higuain did for us. Do you remember? Like he would make like these little sudden movements with the
but no one understood that he was doing them.
Yeah, and it was really weird because he had insane movement, but he was just really slow and like unfit. So it was like, but he was like, he's like a really good example. I know what you mean. You want him to be more bouncy, like you want him to just
exactly.
Yeah, but he's not that kind of player though. So
but I think he can be because he's leaner now. I think he can be.
Maybe I'm not sure. I just it's so early in the season. I don't want to paint an overall picture of what it will be like in the season. If you know what I mean. I don't want to judge him too early. Like I know he has so much more to his game than he did at Man United, and I just want. I'll tell you what, these games coming up now, when we've got like Southampton, we've got Brentford, which is actually going to be a really hard game. But I want to see him like have an all-round performance, do different things, like because I think
against Arsenal.
Yeah, like against Arsenal, but at the same time, whenever I think about Arsenal, he was doing the same thing. He was pinning Mari and just laying it off, like he was.
But he dropped to pin him, like he dropped a bit, pinned him, released it, and then turned and went on the run.
Arsenal were playing higher than Juventus.
No, that's obviously you're right with that.
Yeah, it's very circumstantial. With Lukaku, I think you'll get performances where you'll see a complete opposite, mostly due to what the opponent's doing, to be honest, and who their centre backs are.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
It's like we sometimes make strikers look bad by being defensively good. Every now and again, an opponent will do that to Lukaku, but then we can't pretend that he was good anyway. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I feel harsh to judge him because if he did get those balls into his feet more often, one of them could have led to a goal. So that's why I'm like, well,
he had 2 chances and didn't score either of them. 3, arguably, with the header.
True, but I think what first chance are you talking about?
The corner first half, the Alonso low corner.
Oh no, that's way too harsh. That's way
Excuse
too
me.
high.
He's unmarked in the box, has a yard of space around him.
No. I can't count that as a big chance.
If I pay 100
No
million
way.
for a striker, I expect him to hit that better than he did.
I don't know. I don't count that as a big chance. I think it was.
And it was
It
a
was
strong
too
left
far
foot
out.
as well.
It was too far out for me.
Well, it was in the box.
It was outside, wasn't it? It was like edge of box. It came to him.
Wait, the
and then-
Lukaku, is this, are you talking about the Lukaku chance?
The first, no, the first half one from the low corner.
I was going to say, I thought you meant the second half
Yeah,
chance.
where like
yeah.
it was like a corner taking like a fizz into him, and then he swung it. He didn't hit it well, but from what
I'm pretty sure
remember,
it was in
quite
the
far
box,
out.
like just left of the penalty spot.
If it was in the box, then fair enough. But I remember it being slightly further out, and
if you're right, I think fair enough, and if I'm right, I'm critical of it. But still,
yeah, I don't know.
because having spoken to you about these things a few times, Pies, I know sometimes you don't want to sound too critical, but your ratings are like under ratings. We actually end up agreeing quite often, so that's why I wanted you to go first, because I'm really curious what rating you would give it.
What ones have we got so far? Jorginho, Kovacic. See, I'll give him a 6.
Ooh, we're going high. Okay. Let me go with you next, Con. Con, what did you make of Lukaku? Or what would you rate him?
With Lukaku, I'll probably give him a 4. He had 2 great chances. I forgot about the corner one. That's a good chance. Pies, bro, come on. He's a 98 million striker. He can hit that a bit better, can't he? I've seen Alonso strike better balls than that, you know?
That's true.
No, he can hit it a bit better. But
Did you see Alex Telles' goal today?
The problem is,
Did you see
Yeah.
Alex Telles' goal for United today?
Yeah.
And you're
Laurenz,
saying
the
that was
problem
too
is-
far out for Lukaku?
Yeah.
Laurenz,
And,
the problem is though, you're putting that in the bracket of your rating. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, yeah, he can hit it better, but you're like, okay, that's a pointer down against him. Like, I don't know. Like,
No. Otherwise, he'd get -7. But
-7. You're a joke.
no, that was a joke. That was a joke.
-7.
But Con,
You definitely hit him like a 2.
I think in terms of his just overall performance, I don't think he did enough. I think if anyone knows Lukaku, it's Antonio Conte, and he says Chelsea can get a lot more out of Lukaku. So
yeah, that guy's just trying to wind us up. Let's be honest.
Nah, bro,
yeah,
come on,
I
no.
do agree with that. I do.
I
think he's just
don't
whining.
think he's going to talk about Lukaku. Just muted the mic. I'm sorry about that. I should put a pause on my laptop.
You spewed on your mic.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to say that just to annoy Chelsea, you know.
What?
So
Did he actually did he expand on it at all, or did it like what did he actually say? Like
he said that he's more than like a target man. He's got great pace. Not many strikers have like great pace and great physicality. He could run a lot more, etc., that sort of stuff. Which
I do think it
agree
was
with.
obviously not aimed at tonight's game. It was obviously said after the City game.
But
and
just in
for that
general,
game,
so
100%
yeah.
agree.
that's
But,
the thing. Like, I feel like we'll see that though against these teams. That
I'm
don't
sure we
play
will.
such-
And that's why I'm
such
giving him a
stupid
4 because
people
I
like
know
this.
he can do it. You know, like even if he's not instructed to, surely there's an initiative of saying, if I'm not getting the ball here, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. You know, like Werner. Werner, how many runs does he make, and how often does he get the ball? But it still creates space. It still draws out defenders, and you know that Champions League goal Kai scored. Werner made some space for him. You know, so
Even the goal Lukaku scored against Villa, Werner made
Exactly.
the space for it with a run.
exactly. So
And
for that
obviously,
reason,
just to what I know you're saying, Con, is you're not saying Lukaku should do that because Lukaku is the guy we want the space to be opened up for. But every now and again, he should mix it up.
exactly that. Yeah. So for me,
But
4.
so you said 4, yeah. So let me go with you then, Harry, and let me go last. What did you make of Lukaku?
You
Are
go
you
last,
between
yeah.
the two guys? Are you going to be as high as Pies?
I know you're going low. You're going low.
Not as low as the
I
other,
think
as
I'll go low.
Havertz, but not that low.
I'll go 4 point. I don't know, 4.5. I think maybe at most. Like I say, I really hated that. I know the opportunities given to him were. I expressed my hate to the fact that the likes of Jorginho, Kovacic, Alonso, Aspi, even Ziyech and Havertz, the balls that they gave him, it was never to feet. never ever to feet. So he's not to blame with that. And we know that he strives way more off of balls to feet. However, I think whoever commented like early on in the stream said, like, why should Lukaku have to adapt to the style of play? Why can't the players do it, or vice versa? You know, like each side should have to adapt.
Each should adapt a little bit rather than one fully one way.
Yeah. So Lukaku, there's no doubt in my mind, Lukaku should have to adapt to the rest of the team, 100%.
To some extent,
however,
obviously not change his style completely, but I get what you mean.
No, we want him in the box.
No, of course. Like he should adapt his game to fit the style, but also
put his own mark on it.
Let's be honest. Let's be completely clear. Like, he is a very Drogba style player. So we have people in the team who have played with Drogba. We got Petr Cech, we got Ashley Cole, we got so many players who are still working at the club who can tell players this is how you play in to a player like Lukaku, who is very similar to Drogba. That being said, since he's come to the club, I can only really remember, I could be completely wrong. It's late in the day. Is Lukaku plays again with Inter Milan as well. I know for a fact, plays very well with balls that come to feet. He's not a player that necessarily, and today was a key example of he doesn't play well with balls that come in fast. I don't think there is a player in the world, even like good or bad, who plays well with balls that come in as fast as they have done from the likes of Jorginho, Kovacic, etc. Come into chest, the hip, or to the head. You saw it bounce off his head a bit at least twice this fucking game. And he didn't know what to do. It just went straight out for a goal kick or for a throw in. Not his fault in those regards. But when it did come to feet, I think he shielded the ball as well as he could, but still not great. He's still got a lot to work with. He still has to try and blend in and work with the players that he has around him. It's like I said earlier on, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. He has to blend and work with the players and get used to their style of play, and they have to get used to his style of play because he's a big he's a big bastard. Like he's a monster.
He is.
We have not had a player like that at the club since Drogba. Or Lukaku himself, but Lukaku wasn't that big when he left the club. But even when Drogba was at the club last, he wasn't as big as Lukaku is. We haven't had a player who is as big as Lukaku is.
But I don't think we should focus too much on him being a big player because that's why we're turning him too much into Giroud. No. He's so much more than that. And because
I'm saying he has the agility though. That's the thing. He has
but we need to focus on that part way more. That's what I didn't like. We made our system work quite well by the end with how about this false nine and the people around him, and we bring Lukaku in, and we just expect the same style to work, even though we now have a very immobile is the wrong word, but a striker that is a proper striker, like Pys mentioned earlier, like tries to like hold the ball up, shield it, and push back into defenders, and that he's good at that. But that's why I'm also critical of Tuchel, because you can't have the same style, but then a completely different striker and expect that to work. Like, how is that meant to work? But from both what you said, Harry, because you're right, he is best with the ball into his feet, and that goes back to exactly what Pys said. That he keeps screaming for these balls, and that's good. But that's exactly where I'm coming from with I need him to be a bit more bouncy, because he can't just stand there, defender behind him, and scream. Because if you play against a somewhat decent defense, they're going to block that passing lane. Like, you need to move around every now and again. And I'm not saying by 10 yards left, by 10 yards. I'm saying by 1 or 2 or 3. A little bit over, a little bit forward, a little bit backwards, just so that you you can't always have the passing lane block to make it also easier for the players around him to play those passes that he keeps screaming for. For that, in my opinion, needs to bounce around a bit. And no, I wasn't going to go as low as some of you might have feared. I was also going to go for along with Con. I do think he was still much better than Ziyech and Havertz today. I do still think he wasn't good. It's just like that. So we had 2 4s, a 4.5, and a 6. Don't know what to do with that.
I'll give him a 5 personally. I don't know. I don't remember giving my rating.
Didn't you say 4.5? I thought you said.
Did I say 4.5? I don't remember saying 4.5.
You might not have done. I thought you did.
I don't remember giving my my rating, to be honest.
Well,
I may well have done. I'll give him
if you said 5,
I gave him 5. I think he
Okay.
played the best out of. I know Con said that no player deserved more than a 6. I think he deserved a 5. Personally.
That's officially what our scores come out at divided by 4. So 4.75 is what he's getting. Just because this is where we're going for over an hour and a half. Over 2 hours now.
2 hours.
Let's just finish it up by having a go at Mr. Hakim Ziyech. You know, I see people in the chat every time I stream. And if you guys are Moroccan and that's why you back him, no problem with you. But at the same time, to say things like I saw yesterday in a preview, Ziyech is our best player, just give him minutes and chances, he'll be good. I'm like, bruv, the guy can't even control a football. Like, you play the pass into him, it doesn't matter whether it's a fast hit ball or whether it's a slow as hell rolling pass. Every time he tries to control it, it bounces off 2 yards. Every single time the man tries to control the ball, it bounces off. Okay, not every single time. He had 1 good touch in the game. Brilliant. Love that from you. But he's a technically gifted player. You know, we're not talking about, I don't know, Gary Cahill here. And, all right, he might have a bad touch. But this is Hakim Ziyech, who we called the wizard. And he can't control the ball. I mean, that's weird. And I don't care about the shoulder injury. If the shoulder injury is that bad, then we go back to Thomas Tuchel. Don't bloody play him. Like, I'm not having this, and then he should also say, mate, my shoulder hurts. I can't play properly. Like, surely this is not helping himself either, playing performances like this. To be honest, I'm thinking of giving Alonso a 1 just to give Ziyech the only 0 because he was so bad. Like, I cannot even comprehend how bad. So, like, I've rarely seen a player play this badly ever. Like, honestly, this was so bad at everything. And his crosses, like, the man's meant to be good at crossing. Every time he gets the ball, no curl, just fucking smacks it into the middle of the box when there's 3 Juventus players in front of him. I'm like, who are you aiming for? Like, what are you trying to achieve with these fizzed low balls that have no curl on them and no direction and no aim for anyone in the middle? Like, Lukaku is behind 3 strikers and you smack it low. What's he ever meant to do with that? Like, even if it does get to him, he can't expect it to get to him because he has to expect someone to deflect it before him. So he can never be ready to score. So it's completely pointless. Stop doing that. It's pissing me off. Whether he's played on the left like today or on the right like usually, his crosses are awful. His touches are awful. Yes, he had 1 good ball against City the other week, against Villa, when Werner should have scored a second 2 minutes after he scored his first. But outside of that, I'm like, I don't understand where the Ziyech is that we saw for 3 or 4 games after he initially came back from injury last season. He was so good. And I haven't seen an acceptably good Hakim Ziyech for more than 3 games since then. And when I say since then, we're talking nearly a year ago.
Well, can I interrupt just quickly?
Of course.
When can you tell me in a Chelsea shirt categorically that you've seen Ziyech have like an outstanding performance?
Yeah.
Prove me wrong,
Yeah.
by all means. I'm just saying.
Yeah, back-to-back man of the matches.
Burnley away.
I could be.
Leeds-
like I say,
Leeds at home and Sheffield United. Those 3. And even Krasnodar in the Champions League away, he got man of the match.
So what's that? 3 games in a row.
Those are 3-4 games where he was really good, and then he got injured again. And then
they are the 3-4 games. I'm not by any means. I'm not a Ziyech hater by any means. I do like him, and I was a big fan of him before he came to the club. I was one of the ones that was like really, really excited for him to come to Chelsea before he was even remotely officially announced as a Chelsea player. But I can't be the only person who's disappointed by how he's performed. Really, realistically,
No,
like I love
sorry,
him.
he was
Even
good
as a
until he got
Chelsea
injured
player,
against
because I'm
Villarreal.
biased no matter what. I'm still underwhelmed as to how he's performed.
Yeah, no, of course. I don't think anyone would really disagree, to be honest.
No.
But because you're already talking about it, what rating would you have given him then? Obviously, your ratings have all been a tad higher than especially mine, which is fair enough. But what would you have rated Hakim Ziyech today, Harry?
If you've given Alonso a 0, no more than a 1, honestly. And that's not because you've given Alonso and you know how much I like Alonso. It's just as simple as that. Ziyech, I'm a big fan of Ziyech. Probably as big a fan of Ziyech as I am as Alonso. I just got sick and tired of him in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the game. I don't care for whether or not Pice or Con says he did this in the second half or whatever. The first half, he mudded us so many times. He could have easily been sent off in the first half because he fouled players so many times in the first half. He put us in jeopardy. He literally put the team in a sticky situation in terms of, obviously it's first half, so the chance of him being sent off is slim to none. But he gave away what I counted 6 fouls in the first half. First 3, the rule is always the first 3. After the third one, you're in the book. How he didn't get sent off in the first half, I don't understand. They weren't bad challenges, don't get me wrong, but he still gave away fouls in the second half before he got substituted that he was lucky not to get sent off. He had arguably, in my opinion, the worst performance I think I've ever seen him have.
For sure.
He was not.
Someone said it here.
And again, I am a massive fan of Alonso. Alonso was a 0. He was a 0. I will not give him a 0. He was at least a 0.5 or a 1. He is, apart from Alonso, the second worst player on the pitch.
So you think Alonso was worse than Ziyech?
Yeah, of course. And you know how much I love Alonso.
Yeah.
But Ziyech was, if not as bad as Alonso.
I would say as bad, but yeah.
I'd say as bad because I love Alonso. I'd say as bad, but I would argue as well, he is at worst, maybe a 1 would be probably the best position. He was shocking. He pissed me off so much. If you have got the time, if you are watching, if you're in the comments, go back to Chelsea Fan TV of the stream for that. See the first half if you've got the time, because I lost my rags so many times with Ziyech, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not the only Chelsea fan in the world that lost their rag with Ziyech in the first half. It was one of the worst performances I've seen in the first half as a Chelsea fan.
For sure. And obviously I saw someone say, he was in the Super Cup. Yeah, he was good until he got injured and he scored, and that was great. And yes, he scored against City and he scored against Atletico. But in those games that he scored against City and scored against Atletico, he scored, but still wasn't good. No. It wasn't bad in those games, but in terms of outstanding games, he had half an hour against Villarreal and the 3 that we mentioned. So that's not enough. Sure, obviously he didn't have 8 months of competitive football after the Eredivisie stopped obviously early last year in March, and then he got injured in the 1 preseason game we had. Then he got injured again. I get it, right? It's tough, but still, you could and that's why I'm so annoyed at Tuchel. We were so bad against City, and the one thing he changes is Kante, who picked up the Rona, and he brings Ziyech in. Excuse me, that's not good enough, Thomas. You can't be that bad in the last game, change one player and bring a player in that was awful the last 3 times he played and expect things to be better. That's not good enough. But we will get to Tuchel as the very last thing very, very soon. Pice, let me go with you on Ziyech. Do you agree that he was as bad as Alonso? Would you even want to give Alonso a 1 just so Ziyech has the only 0? What did you make of it?
Nah, I already said earlier I'd give Havertz, Alonso and Ziyech all 0s.
Fair. Well, there you go. There you go. Anything you want to add?
Just thought it was terrible. Thought they was all bad as each other. Yeah, just shocking. I can't give them a 1. I don't remember anything good any of them done, to be honest. They were abysmal. I hardly ever give out zeros, but 0 is almost like an NA for me because you're that bad. Like you played that bad. I just don't even want to. It's like, yeah, the rating is hardly available because you played that bad. It's just a 0, just flat 0.
I couldn't agree more, mate. Con, what about you?
I think he was better than Havertz today.
Really?
And this is one thing that pisses me off, right? Every time our front three has a bad game and CH plays, why is he the one always spoke about the most? Like Havertz was the worst today. At least CH
They
showed
were
for the
both
ball.
as shit as each other.
No, Havertz didn't do anything. He didn't show for the ball. He lost the ball. He was shit. And
But
Havertz
what did
always gets
Ziyech
away
do,
with
though?
it. He showed
Ziyech
for the
gets-
ball at least. He showed
But
for the
what
ball
did-
at least.
And then lost it.
He didn't. No, he didn't lose it. That's an exaggeration. I guarantee if you go back and watch the game, he didn't give it away as hard as many people said. No, I'm fed up with this because Havertz always gets.
I
a pass.
checked that now.
And Havertz has had more bad games than CH. So why does Havertz always get a pass when we do it? Oh, we all love Havertz. Just quite one on his game today. CH, oh, yeah, he's this and that. And look at the extent he gets. No, it's fucking bollocks, man. Like, and what is it? Harry said he doesn't have an agenda. Well, you clearly fucking do. When you spoke quite nicely of Havertz and Aspi.
Mate.
And then when it comes to CH, you rip him like that going back. Oh, when has he ever had a good game? What are you on about, man? He was bad today.
What are you talking
Exactly.
about, Ziyech? This is arguably the worst game I've ever seen Ziyech have.
Then you didn't watch him against Barnsley, clearly.
That's
Against
true. That's
Barnsley.
true. Against Barnsley was even
There's a
worse.
difference between Barnsley and Juventus, mate. Like, there's a difference. You can have a bad game against Barnsley and it doesn't matter.
No,
Against
my point is-
Juventus, it fucking matters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so then why is your beloved Aspi? You didn't say anything bad about him. Kai Havertz, not really anything bad about him. CH, you dig him. And that's what pisses me off. The energy ain't consistent. At least Pies.
Because no,
he said all of them were shit as
Ziyech
each
gave
other.
away
That's
7 fouls in the first half.
Oh,
That's
mate.
it.
Calm down. Let him finish.
No,
Let him
no,
finish.
Don't fucking shout at me because you don't know me like that. Don't shout at me. I'm not a kid. I'm 24 years of age. Don't fucking shout at me, all right?
All
All
right.
right,
Secondly-
calm down.
Who's he shouting at? Like,
I
what are you
don't.
shouting
but
at me for?
Just finish what you want to say.
I'm 24 years
saying.
of age. He doesn't have to shout at me, does he? Like, what's his problem?
Just
Oh, 'cause
finish
you've
what
had-
you want to say.
Oh, because
Alright.
you've had a drink, mate. Calm down. And the second, I can't be asked. Whatever. I'll give him a 2.
Settle down. Yeah. It's Ziyech gave away the ball the most out of any of the players on the team. That's it. He had an absolute stinker of a show. He had one of the worst performances, if not the worst performance of his career for Chelsea today. Havertz he had a bad game, don't get me wrong. But he did not have a worse game than Ziyech today. At
They're
all.
both shit. I'll just
Yeah,
leave
you
it
said that
at
about 5 times, mate. I think we get the point.
I
Go on. Go on.
I disagree, Con. I disagree that he was better than Kai. Like, I do see what you mean in that he offered himself more. That is true. But that doesn't help anything if then every time he controls the ball, it bounces off him. Even if he didn't lose it every single time it bounced off him, it's still, it shouldn't bounce off him that much every time. And like I said, I said this earlier. Kai tried to go through people, failed every time. Could have had a penalty, I think, second half. Not on average,
Could have,
but with
yeah,
the
you're
things
right.
that ref gave, I think it could have been, if that makes sense. And like I said, I mean, Chiesa just frustrated me. And hey, I openly try to admit when I have a little bit of a bias, and I definitely prefer Kai Havertz to Hakim Ziyech. So I will,
I have
but
no
not just
bias
prefer.
between
I
either
just
of
think
them.
he's way better. So that's why I expect more of Kai, and that's why I feel like there's more of a future. So that's why maybe I'm a little bit.
One's 20,
more
one's
lenient?
22, one's 22, and one's 26, 27. Do you know what I mean?
28, I think it's
And-
28.
In the comments, even someone saying, listen, you're allowed to have different opinions. Do you know what I mean? Like, calm down. We're all Chelsea fans at the end of the day. Like, calm. It is what it is. Like, you can have your opinions on what it is. I think Havertz had an off game. Like, at the end of the day, he won the Champions League for us. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
he did.
have-
But
he
to
can
be
have-
honest, guys, I
he
think
can
if
have
we're
a
going
bad
for
game.
2 hours and 50 minutes, I think it's come well and truly to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tough night. Didn't exactly plan to lose here, especially because of bad memories from 2012. So let's hope we can fix ourselves up in the Champions League group stage run. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have watched until this point, you're crazy, but also appreciate you. So if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, smash that like button. It's always massively appreciated. Appreciate the super chats from earlier. If you want to become a member, there's a link in the description or a join button underneath if you're on desktop. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. We need to go upwards and onwards. Let's hope we can fix things and improve things by the time we get to Saturday against Southampton, because that's not going to be easy either. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.